I'd like to call this meeting to order for Bayfield Town Board for Tuesday, August 6, 2024. Roll call, please.
Trustee Nyberg, Trustee Hartz,
Here.
Trustee Katsos,
Here.
Trustee Snooks,
Here.
Trustee Moreland,
Here.
Trustee McLaurin,
Here.
and Mayor Ah.
Here. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
Sorry.
Does the board have any conflicts of interest?
No.
No.
Before we begin, I know that there was a post on social media that came up that was full of lies and mistruths, quite frankly. And it's not what this board has been discussing at all. We've been discussing a rate hike of $10 on everyone's bill to take care of the stormwater problem. And the board has been going back and forth whether we want to implement that $10 or not. We did not discuss any particulars on any stormwater issue in town. I don't know where that information came from, or who put it up, or who wrote it. It was irresponsible of anyone who wrote that to put it up and bring you all out here tonight for a bunch of lies. And I really feel sorry that you've all been duped. We have had 2 meetings on this issue, both of them public meetings, both of them open for everybody to have their own say and whatever they wanted to say. No one showed up. And quite frankly, I'm not listening to it tonight. And I'm not having any board discussion on it tonight. We're going to go into the action agenda, and there's going to be a motion and a vote, and that's going to be it on the stormwater issue. If anyone has anything else that they would like to talk about or say for the public input, I will be glad to listen to any of that, but I'm not listening to anything on stormwater or any particulars on stormwater. And I'll open that up for the general public input right now.
What do you mean by input? You say you don't want to hear about the storm stuff, but what do you mean about input? What input do you want to hear, sir?
General public input on anything but stormwater. We've already had 2 meetings on it. I'm not wasting another meeting on talking about stormwater again.
Well, Mr. Mayor, I called and walked down here and met with Katie regarding the subdivision or the place that Corey Gosney is putting up at the old Haga Ranch. And the reason I called and asked her to forward my information to you is because I needed to discuss to figure out why they were using on the retaining ponds up there. When we had that last big storm, they were full of water. And they were using a pump that a lot of people saw. I walked that every morning. And they were pumping that water down the field that runs into our subdivision, which is the Bay Estates. We were getting flooded out, we were getting mosquitoed out, and I tried to contact you to see how to address it. You never returned my call. And I don't think that that's fair. You don't want to hear anything? You got the job here. You are here supposedly for us and protect us.
Let me start too. I don't agree with the initial statement that he has said.
This meeting,
I
will you
don't
please
really
be
care.
quiet?
I don't really care. I don't agree with you.
Be quiet.
I don't agree with you.
I don't care.
Don't agree with
I'm
you
with the
either, Mayor.
people.
I don't care. Nicole, can you address her concerns on that one?
Right now?
Hers, yes.
I'd have to do some research on that before I can.
Has she called down here and talked to you?
No, I talked to Katie. I came
And I
visited-
sent you that message that Lucy wanted to speak with you.
I haven't seen the message. I will talk to you, I'll talk to you tomorrow, I promise.
Well, I don't want promises. I'm done dealing with this dictatorship, which is what you're doing tonight. This is people here, this is what you were elected to
They're all here
represent.
because of a lie on social media. I'm not dealing with lies. I'm not dealing with a bunch of lies on social media.
Mine's not social media, mine's
I know
living
yours
this.
isn't. I told you, I'll talk to you tomorrow. I don't know what you're,
That's not why you're here, that's not why you were elected, sir, I'm sorry.
And I tried to get on that board meeting so that I could have you guys address it and talk to me, because knowing the fact that I can't do any more than just say something for 5 minutes, and you guys can't tell me and you can't address it at this point. So that's why I'm here tonight. I'm just fed up with this bull. I don't think it's fair. I pay a lot of taxes. I've been here since '77. And to have you sit up there and act the way you act, like you're so righteous, that's not what you're here for. That's not what you were elected for.
Katie sets the agenda and brings everybody in for that agenda.
And we talk back and forth, but I expected you to return my phone call. And I don't think that's asking a lot.
You're right, and apparently I didn't get I don't know. I don't know what happened.
So I want to be on next agenda so we can discuss it to see what's going to happen, because right now they're tearing down those retention ponds down. And what happens when that ditch overflows and as much water and as deep of a hole as they put in there, what's going to happen to us in our subdivision?
I can put you on the next agenda.
All right, and I expect you to call me tomorrow.
Okay? Can
If you
leave-
don't, I'll be back.
Can you leave your number with me or
It's written on
some?
the paper. They told me to write if I had something to say, to write it
Okay.
on there. I'm
Thank
not
you.
afraid.
Okay, I'll talk to you.
Good job, Lucy.
Anyone else?
Mr. Mayor, we as a board had stated that
This is public input.
we had
Mr. Black is up at the
Would you
moment.
let her talk?
we had stated that we wanted public input, that we
We
wanted
had 2
people.
meetings of public
It
input.
doesn't matter, Mr.
it
Mayor.
does.
Mr. Mayor, it does not matter. This is public information. They have a right to be here. They have a right to speak. And I'm sorry, sir, you wanted more of this. It was one of the top priorities of this board when this board was first elected. We said we wanted public
Mr. Black
input.
is up right now.
I just want to remind you that we made this a
Mr. Black is
priority.
up right now.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Black.
David Black, 606 Buck Highway. All I can do is just shake my head. I'm embarrassed for you all. I'm embarrassed for my community, quite frankly. You know, just speaking extemporaneously here for a moment. I mean, people, come on. Know what your government can and cannot do, for God's sakes. Civics class apparently was lost on all of you. But let's talk about bears for a moment. And trash. Because that's on the agenda tonight too. When I was on the board, that was one of my little issues. In fact, it was probably my first issue, was to have Brian Peterson come in here and get before the board and remind us all at that point in time what a little bit of effort on our part could do to minimize bear-human conflict. And we got bear-resistant cans. And that has pretty much killed the issue. So as you consider this tonight, remember that. Please. That's what I want you to do. And on this, I'm going to have to throw one more thing in there. $10 a month is not a lot. It's not a lot, people. But let's come on, people.
We are fine with $10 a month.
And that's all we're voting on.
You're not excluding any neighborhoods?
No,
No.
I listened to the last Zoom, I watched your last Zoom. meeting.
we're not excluding any
A lot of us
neighborhoods.
watched it.
Dove Ranch was brought up in that meeting, that's why we're here.
We are, none of those none of those decisions are being made tonight.
My name is Linda Werner. I did attend the town hall meeting on Zoom, didn't have to be here in person anymore. And I did hear a lot of discussion about trying to exclude our particular neighborhood from the $10 a month and making us develop and pay for our own water retention as if we weren't part of this town. And I have done a lot of research after watching that meeting, and I have information from the original HOA, before, when we did have an HOA, about what the builder did, what the town did and didn't do, and everything that I have read says that if Dove Ranch was not completed properly, the town had X amount of $1,000 to fix what the builder didn't do. The builder took off, the town never fixed what the builder didn't do. Did they have that money? Yes or no? Was it a handshake and nobody got a bond from these people? If so, why does it suddenly become Dove Ranch residents, who some of them have only lived there a year or two and had no idea of this issue? That was my issue. I listened to the meeting, I watched the meeting, so I do know that this was discussed. So, vote on $10. Everyone here is good. $10, right? $10. But to say $10 except for this neighborhood, then when do you stop? Well, that neighborhood needs this. Let's exclude them. I mean, we are a town. We are in the town limits. We have town services, and we should all be covered by the town.
My name is Maureen Goldman. I live in Dove Ranch. Oh, I'm really bad at that, sorry. Okay, so I'm just going to read what I had prepared because I feel it deeply. This is a citywide problem and it requires a citywide solution. I believe it is short-sighted to eliminate the potential funding participation of existing and future homes owned by members of an HOA, who, by the way, will be using the city infrastructure in town as they live their lives in this community. Eliminating all of the HOAs there will be no fund. The city would be limiting the potential for grants, matching and otherwise, and loans to offset the high and getting higher as we speak costs of infrastructure repair and maintenance. I think I speak for most in Dove Ranch when I say that we have been and remain an integral part of the Bayfield community and wish to participate in shared responsibility and resolution of our stormwater concerns. Establishing a stormwater fund seems the most reasonable and fair and equitable approach for our community to contribute to the health and safety of our citizens now and in the future. Again, I take the stand that trying to reconcile the way things were done in the past is not the answer. This is a citywide problem and requires a citywide solution. Thank you.
I can speak for the entire board when I say that we are.
You don't get to speak for me.
I will say that
Second
we are
that.
all trying to get the stormwater taken care of across town. We've discussed different options and things that we could do, and the fee is one way to get started, and that's where we're at. We have discussed nothing further than that. Not eliminating anybody and not excluding anybody.
Ashley Tarkenton, 203 Dove Ranch Road. I would actually like to defer to legal. If it's on the agenda, I believe the citizens have a right to discuss publicly their feelings.
This is public comments right now,
Right.
so for public comments, generally people are limited to 3 minutes and to discuss whatever issue they'd like to discuss. However, it's not a question-answer sort of period.
Right.
It's just an opportunity.
I'm just
to-
asking if I should wait my turn to the agenda item, because that's when we should all be able to speak our mind during that agenda item, legally.
You bet. Well, from a Roberts rule of law.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'll wait for that section.
Anyone else? Moving on to approval of the agenda. This
Mr. Mayor, I
town-
make a motion to approve the agendas. Oh,
Mr. Mayor, I'd make a motion to remove item 8 of the agenda.
second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Nyberg,
Yes.
Trustee Harts,
Yes.
Trustee Katzos,
No.
Trustee Snooks,
Yes.
Trustee Moreland,
No.
Trustee McLaurin,
Yes.
and Mayor Ah.
Yes. Moving on to solid waste removal service. Solid waste removal service review of the July 29 bids.
Yes, so we sent out an RFP. We received 4 bids. Currently, we have service with Republic Services. Their original company name was WCA, then it was GFL, and now it's Republic Services. They submitted a bid. Bruin Waste Management submitted a bid. I believe there's a representative for Bruin Waste in the room. And Reliable Waste Service. Aaron Hamster is also a representative for Reliable Waste. He is in the room. And then Waste Management. So the bids that we received for municipal waste collection services also considered a non-bear proof and bear proof. And I know that Parks and Wildlife is also here as well. And there's also a letter from them regarding bear-proof trash cans and their support to continue that process. So the primary 2025 for Bruin Waste was $21.78. Reliable Waste for 2025 was $16.95. Republic Services was $18.50. And Waste Management was $26 for each residential pickup. There was some there was some added information about year after year and what that would look like. Bruin Waste added their percentage to each one, looking at the CPI. Republic Services and Waste Management also provided the CPI, only the CPI, not necessarily the actual amount. And then Reliable Waste Service provided a COLA, cost of living adjustment is what that would stand for. So it's quite a complex request for services. That also extended to the town hall services as well. It extended to possibly providing trash services to our current utility customers that are outside of town as well. All of them seem to be said yes to that. And then there was also additional information about Christmas tree pickup, Christmas tree roll-offs so that people could drop off their Christmas tree. There was a lot of other things about waste. We have a waste treatment plant and the sludge bin, so there's all kinds of other things in that bid. And I believe Reliable, if you'll at least let the Parks and Wildlife people basically speak on bear proof, maybe we can just start there. And then Reliable, and if Bruin Waste is in the room, we can certainly do that as well.
So Parks and Rec, Reliable,
Parks and Wildlife.
Parks and Wildlife.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here. For the record, Adrian Archuleta. I'm the Area Wildlife Manager based out of Durango. And joining me this evening is District Wildlife Manager Stephanie Taylor, who covers the Bayfield area. Appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight to talk. And yes, we do support any efforts to mitigate bear conflicts. I'll just start with I think the big data point is that statewide, trash is the #1 attractant for human-bear conflict. So the more we can collaborate together to reduce the instance where trash is readily available, even in marginal habitat, what seems like not great bear habitat, we're starting to see more bears, even in Ignacio, which is, pretty low elevation, pretty marginal habitat. So we appreciate any efforts from our partners to secure trash, especially with certified trash containers. There are some grant monies that are available annually from Parks and Wildlife. That deadline is usually in May. There's no guarantees on that, but I'm hopeful that the foreseeable future, that monies will be made available, that different municipalities, trash haulers can apply for. We've had really good success in the Durango area over the past several years. The community of Pagosa Springs most recently was awarded a significant amount of money from that grant fund. So I would certainly think that the town of Bayfield, collaboration with Colorado Parks, Wildlife, and waste haulers could apply and hopefully receive some of those funds to offset some of those costs in the future, because we understand it does cost a little more money, but nobody likes receiving tickets, but there are times when it is a citable offense, but we always try to work with people up front to educate and mitigate the issues before we really have any conflicts. So again, the more we can work together to reduce those instances where trash is available to bears, the better off we're gonna be. So looking out for wildlife and for the public as well. So with that, I'll answer any questions if you all have any.
I'd like to know at what point you folks are called in and you write that ticket. So if you could maybe share that with the public, that might be beneficial, just so they know what to expect should you come a-knocking.
Sure. Yeah, and I'll preface this with we have a regulation that we can enforce. It starts with education and a warning. More often than not, when we get a call, we're going to respond and do a site visit and provide education and some best management practices. So as an example, a lot of the calls we get are related to trash and then bird feeders, hummingbird feeders. So we usually start there, identifying what's bringing the bear in and try to remedy those issues. We don't issue a ticket on the first instant. Second visit, we may get into, enforceable actions. I don't want to speak for La Plata County, but there is a county ordinance as well related to trash and when folks can put it out for pickup. But we don't enforce any county ordinance, so it's just the state regulation that we would be looking at. But we start with education, and then, we look at citations from there.
My bear-proof trash can has not been bear-proof for the 4 years that I've had it. So how do you go about getting somebody to fix them? My neighbor's isn't either, I might say.
That is a great question, and I'll first start with, we try not to say bear-proof. We say bear-resistant because even some bears are pretty strong. So these bear-resistant containers do take maintenance. So I think that would have to, be a better question for the waste hauler.
Waste hauler.
Yeah, who and I would think in the contract that's built into maintenance of said receptacle. So
it's never worked.
Any other questions?
No.
No, thank you.
Any questions from the public? Thank you.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I don't know if Bruin Waste is here. I'll just go in alphabetical order. Okay. So anything you wanted to add about your bid regarding solid waste services for 2025? We'll have you step up to the podium if you have anything to say. Thank you.
My name is Chris Tanner. I'm General Manager for Bruin Waste, Elite Recycling and Disposal in Pagosa Springs. We're very excited to have this opportunity to put our bid in on this project. We do take customer service very seriously, so if one of your town people had a problem with their bear cart, we'd be more than happy to come over and swap that out and make it right. Yeah, we're real excited about this, and that's really all I wanted to add.
Thank you very much.
I do have a quick question for you. How do you handle dates that you have to change your service? I know that's been an issue with the town where at 4th of July, for example, the calendar said they're coming on 4th of July, or the 5th of July, and they came on the 4th?
We've got a very dedicated team in our office, and they do a lot of social media, Facebook, things like that. We do a email blast, we'll post it on Facebook, we put it on our website. We would let the town know so they can use their communication channels to inform the customers of changes, service changes due to holidays and whatnot. So we take that very seriously. We try to reduce the amount of calls that come in by being proactive. So we like to think ahead on that stuff, so.
Perfect. Thank you for your answer.
Can I ask you a question? Does this bid include recycling?
Recycling separate.
This bid does not include recycling, so it was
That's
just for
correct.
solid waste services. But we would be happy to talk to the council, you know, should they want to do recycling. We do that in Pagosa Springs and some other areas, and we do include it, we can include it into the services or the bid, but, so that's something we probably could negotiate, you know, in the future.
What is the size of your fleet, and what is your service maintenance? Do you do it on site, or is it you have to depend on another business to maintain your vehicles?
We have 14 trucks. We were going to purchase a new vehicle to do the services here, which, you know, trucks, that doesn't mean it's going to be bulletproof. I do a lot of the maintenance myself, and we do have a third party that comes in and does the maintenance also. We do try to keep spare trucks available because service is what we do. And we want to make sure, you know, that's the one thing that can set us apart from some of the bigger companies, is we can react to these things and try not to have a hiccup in the service. So,
I have a quick question. Would our service day still remain on Thursday, or is there any, are you going to change that?
that's yet to be seen. I mean, we can talk about that too. Thursday, I was looking at 2 days, so we might be over here Wednesday, Thursday, or possibly Thursday, Friday. So, yeah, we can discuss that. I mean, if you want it to be just Thursday only, we can discuss that.
Well, currently,
it wasn't in the bid, you know, how we were going to do it.
Right. No, currently we just have trash pickup now on Thursdays, so I was just seeing how consistent we could keep it.
We like to be consistent, so, but I was looking at 2 days.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
I have a question. I live in an apartment complex, and our trash is picked up on Tuesday mornings and Friday afternoons. Wednesday and Thursday wouldn't work.
Well,
do you understand what I'm saying? If you had the contract, what would you do?
Well, the commercial accounts are different, so we would do those as needed. So the bid for this that we're talking about today is residential only. So yeah, so if the commercial account on your apartment complex being 2 days a week, that's completely something different, so.
Any other questions?
I appreciate your time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Aaron Hamster, I know he's back there.
Evening, folks. My name's Aaron Hamstra. I own Reliable Waste Service based out of Bayfield, Colorado. This meeting was a little more exciting than I was anticipating, but I'm happy to be here. Hopefully we can talk a little trash. I don't really have much of a presentation or anything, but I'm happy to answer any questions and would love to allay any concerns that you might have.
I would like to ask the same question that I asked before about customer service, and how do you let your people know what's going on if things change?
My answers are going to be similar to Chris's, so I'm trying to think of how I can spice it up a little bit. But, I mean, communication is the name of the game, right? I mean, we truthfully haven't done much delays since we've been in business because, like, I've done most of the driving myself, and it's just, for me, it's just easier to just power through. But anytime we have had to delay for a holiday, I mean, it's multiple emails leading up to it. And I would imagine there are some channels for communication that would make it easy to distribute that to the residents of the town. And so we would pull that lever as hard as we can. Yep.
Can you refresh my memory? I think when you made your presentation before,
yep.
Was the $16.95 for you purchasing the new bear bins?
Yep.
So all the residents would get brand new bear bins?
Yes, ma'am. Yep.
Okay, great. All right.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you.
Any questions from the public?
Is recycling included with this?
Same as Chris. This is just for trash. I don't want to overextend myself or anything, but I mean, this business does continue to grow and we're trying to be careful about that. I do see recycling in the near future, but I don't want to put that on the record, you know, even though maybe I just did. Yes, sir.
How many trucks would you be using for Bayfield?
For Bayfield, I'd be using 2 trucks. Yep. Yes, sir.
So with the bare bins, would we be able to, I'm not sure if we have to return those to the current provider.
We haven't had that discussion with Republic Services yet.
So my question was gonna be, can we just continue to use the bin we have instead of getting another one? Because I still have the one from the previous supplier that I'm wondering what to do.
Yeah, and that's a great question. I mean, I think there are some things we'd have to figure out there because that's the property of the current hauler. Sorry, this feels weird to answer your question, but the microphone's that's the property of the current hauler. I think there's maybe something we could figure out how we would pass, you know, keep those in place. I do have some concerns that those cans are getting old and beat up, so that we might be due for new ones anyhow. So unfortunately, the answer is I'm not sure.
Okay, well, I would just ask you to look at it.
Yeah.
Because, you know, mine is in great shape. I'd like to keep using
Yeah.
it, but obviously compatibility with your equipment and all that kind of stuff. So
right.
I'd like to just ask you to look
Yeah.
into that and try to make that happen.
That would make my life easier, so.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Can size.
Same.
7 liter?
Yep. Yep.
Oh, I have a question.
What's up?
Can we do some kind of like a tiered thing where like you get picked up once a month, you pay a fee, or like a fee per week or something? Cause like I'm paying the same amount as people who fill their bin every week, do I put mine out once a month?
Probably not.
So that's,
That
it's
would
all
be-
billed through the town, so that would have to be a town
Yeah.
responsibility.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Any other questions?
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moving on to the award of the solid waste removal service.
So Republic Services is here too.
Oh,
Oh,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I didn't know you were here, sir. Come on up.
Good evening. My name's Adam Kenner. I'm with Republic Services. My office is in Grand Junction, Colorado. We got J.C. Velasquez back here. He lives in Farmington, and he's the guy that's in charge of getting your trash picked up every week. We've appreciated the partnership we had with you now and hope we can continue that. I'd like it mentioned that we just kind of reviewed service standards here, and from January to June of this year, we've had 31 missed pickups, so residents that called in and said that we missed them for whatever reason. And of course, we went out and collected them again, so that represents 0.07% of the total collected within the time period I mentioned. And to answer your question about the holiday season, we have all kinds of programs we can use. I understand we had some kind of mix-up there in the past. We have social media, we have our internal platforms, so we can send out postcards with our holiday calendar, whatever it takes to make that piece work. The bear-proof cans, to the resident that said they don't have one, who was that?
I don't.
Yeah, so we have an inventory of bear-proof carts, so we can fix them, we can replace them, whatever it takes. So, questions, comments?
Does that,
Any questions from the board?
does that just take a call to you to say, hey, my bear can is broken?
It does.
Please replace it, and you just do that?
We'll replace it.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, great. Okay.
Okay.
Any questions from the public?
There's, Lucy's got one.
I'd like to thank the fellow that picked up our trash on the 4th of July. We hadn't taken all the way out, but he did, and my whole subdivision got picked up, and we thought 4th of July, we don't ever come.
Mhm.
But they did pick it up, and I appreciate that they did that for us.
Well, we enjoy the service.
Any other questions?
I have one quick one. How many trucks do you use currently to do Bayfield?
2. We have spare trucks as well, so if one of those trucks goes down, service isn't impacted.
Did you have a question? Any others? Very good. Thank you.
Thanks for your time.
Moving on to 2B, award solid waste removal service.
A motion?
Sure.
For discussion.
I'd like to make a motion to award the solid waste contract to Reliable Waste Services.
Does anyone want a second?
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
The only thing is they don't do the Christmas tree roll-off drop. It says not NA under line M. Is that a make it or break it for you guys at all?
I thought I read that they did. Let me go back to that.
That's Bruin Waste, not Reliable.
Oh, gotcha,
The
gotcha.
motion's for Reliable. And they also, it doesn't look like they do spring and fall cleanup or any leaf collection.
So Reliable picks up the curbside Christmas trees,
Yeah.
but there's
Curbside.
not a drop-off.
Right.
Yeah, so there's a couple different options there.
Like I said, so is it a live or die kind of thing? I mean, we didn't discuss any of this ahead of time, so.
No.
I'm happy with our current provider, so I don't really.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Nyberg,
No.
Trustee Hartz,
Yes.
Trustee Katsas,
Yes.
Trustee Snooks,
Yes.
Trustee Moreland,
No.
Trustee McLaurin,
Yes.
and Mayor Ah.
Yes. I'd like to thank everyone for providing their proposals to us. Moving on to 2C.
So there's still some things that Reliable does not handle. And so some of these like sludge bin removal and spring cleanup and things like that, would you like us to continue to negotiate with some of the other haulers?
I would.
I would think that'd be a good idea.
Yeah?
Yep.
That's why I said no.
Some head nods, yes? no?
Yes.
I,
Yeah.
I
Yes,
said
yes.
yes to negotiating something else.
Sounds like a yes.
Okay.
Do you need anything more than that?
Well, the contracts will come back to you for both, seeing as the residential pickup and commercial pickup as well, or roll-offs.
Okay. Moving on to the action agenda, La Plata Youth Services diversion MOU.
So this has went through a couple additions, revisions, and currently this time, and the chief is in the room or outside the room, he can certainly speak regarding that we think we got an MOU that we can assign.
The wording in the previous MOUs that they had provided us did not meet our standards. That's
myself and Judge Davlin. And so after it was voted down last time, I reached out to La Plata Youth Services based upon your comments on we really want to have programs for the youth to put them in a diversion program. So I worked out an arrangement with them and we hashed out some of the wording, the monies, everything like that to meet what our goals are. So everything that's in this MOU matches our goals.
And they were agreeable to it?
They wrote it.
Right on.
All right.
And you're totally okay with it?
Yes, sir.
And the judge is?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Great job on your tenacity.
Well, thanks.
I would agree with that. I appreciate what you've done to keep this in the game for our youth. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to authorize Mayor Ah to execute the memorandum of understanding for La Plata
second
Youth
that.
Services.
Oh.
Sorry.
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Would you like public input?
I'm going there next.
Okay.
Is there any discussion by the board? No. Is there any public input? Roll call, please.
Trustee Nyberg,
Yes.
Trustee Hartz,
Yes.
Trustee Katzos,
Yes.
Trustee Snooks,
Yes.
Trustee Moreland,
Yes.
Trustee McLaurin,
Yes.
and Mayor Ah.
Yes. Item 3B, Dove Ranch Stormwater Management Options.
So this came out of the work session that you had on the 29th regarding other options for some of the HOAs to bring up their stormwater systems up to compliance. And Dove Ranch was a major topic regarding the cost of Dove Ranch in the feasibility study that our engineer has put together. So this was in some ways just determining if this is the direction you would like to go regarding Dove Ranch or any of the other HOAs. I don't know if we really got clear direction on some of the other HOAs. We only really have one private stormwater pond that's probably compliant, and that's the one that we're going to accept at your next meeting. Other than that, the others all need to bring up to our current standards.
They're on private property?
I'm sorry, they're privately, the town owns the stormwater pond at the west side of Meadow Circle, and we also own the smart ditch on the east side of Sunrise Estates. So the town currently has those, that we have to maintain those.
But the others are not.
The others are on, the others are on HOA, managed by an HOA. I don't know if an HOA is considered private, but it is not publicly owned by the town.
But they're all owned, those are owned by, all of them by HOAs?
Well, they're managed by an HOA.
Managed
yes.
by HOAs. No, Dove Ranch isn't though.
Neither is the downtown.
They don't have one.
Or downtown.
Quiet, please.
Do we have regulations in place or something for how those ponds are supposed to be maintained?
Yes.
But we don't have any way to enforce it?
Well, you're going to have some type of enforcement mechanism to do that.
Right.
So today, like I said at our meeting on the 29th, today, it may be one HOA, and next time it may be Clover 7 comes in and says, well, why are you enforcing our stormwater pond? And of course, you have to go back out to the homeowners themselves to actually have that enforcement mechanism to have some teeth in it.
Well, that's what I'm looking for, some way to put some teeth in it. So
But you have a lot of the older part of town that has no stormwater management whatsoever. And, I
that's
think
where the culverts need to be replaced, right? Or the pipes?
No, there's a lot of the older part of town that there's no stormwater management that was ever designed or managed or considered at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So Katie, your question was, where does the board stand on the priority of stormwater, and has our direction changed with that priority. And I would say, I don't believe so, because at our board retreat, 5 out of the 7 of us said it was a top priority when the mayor asked us to bring a list of our top priorities to be discussed during that retreat. So unless something's changed amongst this board, I believe that that's still a top priority. In the master drainage plan update, it identifies, I believe, 5 areas in the town that need stormwater maintenance or improvements. And Dove Ranch is one of those. So it is a big problem. The storm of 2022 damaged several people's homes in the community, and there was an uprising that came to the meeting and concern about that. They didn't have stormwater or floodwater or flood insurance, so they were kind of stuck with that. The actual special projects that need to be addressed are Dove Ranch, the town-county maintenance yard, the South Mesa Avenue inlet, the gas station inlet, the special project at East Colorado Street, and South Church Street. And the one thing about Dove Ranch, if I understand this correctly, Katie, is that the Dove Ranch drainage affects the 501 and has eroded the west side of the 501, so the county is concerned about that. And my understanding is that it also drains into the Schroeder ditch, and the ditch company has talked to us about that. So based on the town's current cost of maintenance for any and all of these, which out of these costs the town the most currently?
Well, we don't have the only storm water that we actually own is the smart ditch on the east side of Sunrise Estates and the pond that's at the end, the west side of Meadow Circle. And we don't really have a whole lot of funds to maintain those. We just learned, I believe, last year, a year and a half ago, that we own that pond on Meadow Circle, and that belongs to Clover Meadows. I'm going to forget 3 or 4 down there. So an HOA is, the town's taking care of 1 HOA pond and 1 HOA smart ditch.
So did the town respond to the 2022 deluge that the town had?
Oh,
which
yes.
Yeah,
yes.
and so we did send out employees to go deal with it.
I was out that night, too.
Yeah, okay. So stormwater is a big issue in this community. 50% of our infrastructure is below standard. That's a pretty hefty percentage. It is necessary to pass a fee. I will tell you that there is a very large USDA grant waiting for the town if the town meets its 2 requirements.
How do you know that?
Because she said it at the last meeting.
You can ask Nicole right now. So as I was saying, and in order to get that funding that can go towards the town, 2 stipulations have to be met. 1, a stormwater enterprise fund needed to be established, and the board last year, 3 of those members are still sitting on this board, voted for that stormwater fund. The second thing that needs to happen is a fee. Now, that stormwater fund fee only goes to that stormwater. All that money that's collected will go towards the town's infrastructure improvement. This, any of you can get a copy of this. This draft actually identified that it would be $29 per person per month if we didn't get the grant funding. But we know that we've got that there. This report also cost the town $70,000.
$200,000.
$200,000. I was told 70. Okay, $200,000. So the other thing is the USDA is going to kick in money to pay for this report if we get those two things accomplished. So that fee is below the state of Colorado's fee for stormwater enterprises. The average stormwater enterprise annual fee is $650 a year per person, which is $59 a month. We're asking for a $10 fee so we can get the USDA funding so we can begin to work on these issues in the town. And there's a very strong chance that we can get more than the money that is slated because of the infrastructure, build back infrastructure. There's a lot of money that's been made available through the federal funding. So, and the idea of extracting Dove Ranch from that fee, it was mentioned in the last meeting. I find that unacceptable because the fee is equitable and fair for everyone in this town. I did a lot of research. Actually, my husband did it for me. But there's a lot of questions about whether the town enforced the subdevelopment improvement agreement correctly. I had requested neighbors in Dove Ranch to provide me with any and all documentation that they have received, the original homeowners, along with any correspondence. And it was pretty astounding how much information the residents of Dove Ranch was able to provide for me. There is a lot of history there. So
You need to wrap it up.
I will. I think that it's questionable whether that developer was held to that standard, and the town has known about the stormwater issue with Dove Ranch for many, many years. So now we have an opportunity to do something about it. So I just wanted to give all of you a little bit of background.
Trustee McLaurin?
I just wanted to say, there's no doubt that the biggest problem, and if you read the report that Kat is referring to, that the biggest problem that we have with the stormwater drainage is Dove Ranch, and the most expensive project to fix, say, over $1 million. I'm new here. I didn't know anything that happened, but whatever happened with Dove Ranch and whoever was in charge, it really doesn't matter anymore because we have to deal with the problem now. My thoughts, or some of my thoughts when we were talking about it at our meeting before, were because Dove Ranch is such an expensive thing to fix that maybe we should not to cut them off, but to try and pursue some different type of grant funding, some other things to address the problem with Dove Ranch separately. Because the way I was sort of thinking, at first I was thinking, well, $10 a month is not a problem for me. I live right in town with no infrastructure, I guess, for the water. But it's, at the rate of $10 a month, the people that need the pipes, like 50%, I forget the percentage, but Kat knows, I'm sure, the pipes we have, they just don't meet standards. They were put in a long time ago. We've added more people. The town has grown. So those need to be replaced. Culverts need to be replaced. Other drainage needs to be put in. And at the rate, if we all put our $10 in, it's going to be a long time before we can get to anything besides Dove Ranch. And I would like to see us pursue some other funding opportunities for Dove Ranch.
I'd like to add, you can't get grant funding without some funds. And so part of that $10 fee is to help us to start collecting money to get grant funds. So the thought that we can pursue other things doesn't really work until we have some skin in the game, i.e. the $10, in order to get those grant funding. I mean, it's cart before the horse here on this kind of a thing. I know lots of you guys got questions and want to talk, but it's actually open to us right now to speak.
But if it's exclusive to government funding, I've gotten tons of grants with no match.
Yes, but the infrastructure grants that the state of Colorado is issuing out right now are only for municipalities. They are not for private or use. So unfortunately, the thought process of making it Dove Ranch's problem and they have to figure it out is not equitable for the citizens, and I don't support that, to be quite frank. I'm all for, we are one community. We have a big problem amongst not just Dove Ranch. Yes, it's 1 million, but there's another 4 million out there that needs to be done as well in the town. And we can't divvy it up. It's just like your garbage. Everybody pays the flat fee for your garbage. Well, everybody gets to pay a flat fee for streets, for stormwater. It doesn't make sense to leave some out and make more people pay more on this side and less people on this side. It's just not equitable. It isn't, and I don't agree with it, so.
That wasn't my suggestion.
No, I'm not saying it
Yeah.
was. That's my viewpoint, and I'm allowed to express it.
Can I ask a question? Is this the time we can ask questions?
Not yet. So I would like to, personally, I would like to pursue more non-matching grant funds until we exhaust that. You said at our last meeting or the meeting before that that was a possibility. I'd like to see what those options are and put those out on the table before we proceed any farther with charging people money. I know they're out there, and I'm sure they're out there for stormwater, because stormwater has been a big issue across the state for the last number of years.
I feel the problem with that is that your infrastructure grants will be gone by the time we figure out these other grants possibility. I mean, the infrastructure grants that the state of Colorado has out right now, I guarantee you that every municipality is out there scribbling away, getting their grants together to try to get that money and that funding for their communities. I would rather we were the ones scribbling to get it, and man, Nicole's great at getting grants. And I'd rather we did that now. And yeah, I mean, if we can get some of that other money too, that'd be great. Add it all to the pot. Why? Why do we have to wait on that? Because of $10? I'm sorry, but if my house was flooded, it cost me, what, $2,000 a month in flood insurance plus the damage to my home. I mean, you name it. And I'm not just talking Dove Ranch or even myself. I'm talking the people who've already flooded and the damage to their homes and what that has cost them. We can't wait on this, unfortunately.
Do any of the other trustees have a comment?
Go for it.
I just want to say that we learned in our work session on the 30th that it's not possible to split up what we're talking about, and it's not possible legally to charge people different rates in different parts of the town. It is not legal.
We never said that.
It's not legal, period. It can't even be an option.
Then why did you say you wanted it?
I guess what I would add is we've kind of heard from a few people in the audience where they're like $10 they're okay with. And I think it was Brenna that kind of opened my eyes to it. It's kind of like the school district. We live in a school district. Not all of us have kids, but the school district we still have to pay for. And I think to alleviate some of the pressure that we need to start this fund and move forward with it, because the more money we put in there, the sooner we can get a grant to fix the infrastructure that has been neglected over these years.
You're the only one that didn't talk.
Everything I was going to say has already been said.
Okay. Is there any public input?
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Come to the podium.
Oh, hang on.
Okay.
Can we move the microphone? Is it easier to move the microphone than have all these people walk through the crowd?
Sure.
Who's first?
Phyllis.
I can tell I'm in trouble already. I'm Phyllis Ludwig, 9205 County Road 521. I know the town doesn't take much from the county people, but I've been here since 1955. And I've seen Dove Ranch grow, I've seen Bayfield grow. And you always need money to get a grant. I don't think we should be hiring all of these specialists to come in here and want $20,000, $50,000 to tell us what we need. That money needs to go toward the drainage problem. We don't need somebody to come here and act like we're a bunch of idiots because we don't know how to save money on electricity or something. But I think we could get the money that we need if we quit spending it foolishly. Thank you.
I'd like to respond to that a little bit real quickly. I know that $200,000 was a lot, but we intended it to be repaid with the $10 fee. So it wasn't something that we actually were going to have to fork out ourselves. The intention initially, I was on the prior board, was that we created the enterprise zone and then we would initiate this fee of $10 and then therefore we would have that reimbursed to us. So we weren't trying to spend a ton of money on that, Phyllis. At least on that one. I can't guarantee on any of the other ones.
Oh, hi, I'm Jeannie Gillette. I live in Dove Ranch, 1606 South Taylor Circle. Anyway, I think we've stalled enough. I've lived here 8 years, and which I haven't been here since the beginning, but I think, why wait? And if $10 a household will get this going and prove our good faith to get this USDA grant, and then we can get other money, I don't see why we don't do it. And to include everybody, not to exclude any neighborhoods, we're all part of Bayfield. We all share the same problem. Like the school district, like trash, I think we all need to share an equal burden, and no community should be excluded or charged or treated differently. And I think we should start as soon as we can.
Hi, everybody. My name's Todd Lyon. I just have a quick question. Didn't you guys just vote to lower the cost of trash? So that, well, the reason I'm saying that is everybody here is going to get charged less now for
No.
trash.
No, they're going to be charged almost $3 more.
Three more?
For
Then what I had to say was wrong.
2025.
It sounded like you went with a lower
I was
bid.
trying
I'm
to.
sorry.
Lower bid, but not lower than today.
Dave Lovell, Dove Ranch. I got a couple questions. So you were going through pretty quickly there, Miss
Katsos.
Okay, sorry. I
That's
can't
okay.
read. Requirements for them, the dollars needed to establish the fund. So you said it. What is that dollar amount for
That
us
is-
to establish the fund and
Yes.
then submit the grant?
It's a
request?
$10 fee that will be
Okay.
charged every month to
And
every
one-
resident. And what happens then is when we show the USDA that we have acted on the two requirements,
Right.
both the enterprise fund or the stormwater enterprise fund, and then also enacting a fee, adopting a fee, that tells the USDA that we're serious about replacing or repairing our infrastructure.
Understood.
Therefore, they're willing to give us money.
What other requirements are there for the grant?
What are the requirements?
So
for the
it's
grant?
a-
Besides the $10, is there any other requirements to submit that grant?
It is a USDA grant, so they're a little more complicated than the
Right.
Michael Moravan grant. But anyway, there'll be some processes. There's an application. We have to be eligible. You go through the process, so it's still an application process. But the conversations we've had to date are that it would be eligible once we have the enterprise set up. We're collecting a fee, and we're moving forward with actual infrastructure improvement.
So is the enterprise set up?
Yes. In
Okay.
May of
And
2023.
that might be in the report. I don't have a copy of that. Then, aside from that, what is the timeline to get potentially? You're saying obviously everyone's clamoring for all the free money from the sky. What would it take to get that reviewed, potentially awarded, and then get that solved, get work going?
So there's state and federal dollars. That all takes application, having a discussion with our local representative, whether it's federal or state, and then basically proceeding through that process. We're going to compete with all kinds of other jurisdictions. There's over 260 municipalities in the state of Colorado, so we're competing for all those dollars. But the thing is that if there's an enterprise, a fee, and we've got to go ahead from the board to start, then that actually gets us, to the bottom step, and then we'll just keep moving up.
Katie, It is a matching grant, correct, or no?
Excuse me, which is a matching grant.
The one that you're speaking of, the USDA.
USDA, you're going to probably apply for other things through USDA as well. And so that would be the piece that we have at this point, it's not matching.
So we don't know yet.
But they were here June of last year. That's when they actually were here in this room talking about, the great programs that we had. So, but we've been working on this for, almost since I've been here. So the thing is that, now it's going back to them saying, okay, we have enterprise, we have a fee, we have a drainage plan, we have this, we have that, and now we're ready to start moving with improvement. So, and you've got to show that you're moving ahead. No funder, nobody's going to give you money to do nothing.
Yeah, I have a question.
If we don't get the grant, where is this money from the fee gonna go? What is it gonna start to work towards without a grant?
Well, it takes a good year to actually go through that process. So what are we going to do with the money for the meantime? We're going to...
No, I get that we'll wait and save that to hopefully use as either a match with the grant, or if it's a no match, then hopefully it just continues to go in and we have more money to do it. But if we don't get this grant and we can't afford to do anything, where does that money go that we're asking them to pay?
It's just like your water and sewer service. You're collecting
Enterprise.
money to basically take care of the service.
Okay.
So basically, if we accumulate enough money, if there's no grants, we accumulate enough money, we do some repairs. Accumulate more, do more repairs. If a grant becomes available, we apply for it, try to get it.
Can I just add that if you have that fund, that money can't be used for anything else?
That's right.
Right, that's correct. That's why I was saying that's what I was saying was that we would collect the money, do some repairs on stormwater, collect more money, do repairs. If we can't get grants, that's how it would work. We would just keep collecting money so that we could then apply it towards repairs when we had enough for a project.
I had a question. Does the town have an official grant writing person?
That young lady over there in the corner is amazing at it.
Yes.
She's gotten us
Yes.
lots of money so far.
Lots of money, yeah.
Those lovely new sidewalks, yeah, that's her right there.
She deserves that applause.
I
So
kinda
thank you
figured
for
that.
giving her that.
I kind of figured that was the case after listening to her. But I was involved in the Silverton School grant, where we got $11.5 million for it,
Nice.
and I know how hard it is. Thank you.
You got one over there? Oh.
Hi there. Thanks for being here tonight. I have a question on, as far as this $10 in the grants, how soon do you think you're going to start assessing that to us as citizens? And are you going to start doing that in our town bill, water sewer bill?
The resolution shows August 1st.
August 1st, okay. And then as far as the grant, if we don't get that in a year, is it gonna go up again on August 1st? $29?
We don't have any intentions of it going up.
Okay.
According to the plan, if there was no grant money to do the repairs, we'd have to start charging $29.
Okay.
But we're going to go for the grants. We want the money that all of us have paid into taxes to try to come back to our
As do
community,
we.
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
we want
Yeah, we
that
all
to
do
come
that
back
too.
first.
Yeah.
So that's our main goal, is to try to get, that would be Nicole's main goal.
Well, I just wanted to know if we're supposed to see that on our bills next month, or when that's gonna be assessed going forward. And is Dove Ranch the first one that you guys are gonna do, or is that gonna go to everybody in town of Bayfield?
No decision's been made that
Yeah.
way
Okay.
at all.
But I will say, according to the plan, they did have it as the first priority.
Perfect.
Because of the erosion that is happening. But I also know that there are people's homes that were flooded. And so that, even though we do have that happening in Dove Ranch, nobody's homes in Dove Ranch, I believe, were actually flooded. And so in my mind, if I'm thinking of what I want to do, or how I would go about it, is I would want to take care of the areas that flooded first.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's gonna be on everybody's town bill going forward, so you'll send out something, I'm assuming, to everyone in the community?
You have to adopt a resolution first.
Okay, perfect.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
I'm not certain in the past how much money has been available to this town. We are a small town, so this is the first time where there's been this kind of federal funding available out there. And so it is of my opinion that I'm tired of the town cutting bait. I'd like to see this town fish and get some things done, because it's all about you. It's all about your properties, how we're protecting your properties. And if we don't act on this, we're not protecting your properties. We're setting ourselves up for more impacts in the future.
Lucy Stewart, my concern is that we have all this building going on, and it looks like nobody is watching what they're doing, how crappy the work is being done, and the big hole that we have in the Haga Ranch, and who's watching all this stuff, so we don't have to come back and have to pay more money, because whoever is sitting up there tonight is responsible to making sure that we are not dealing with the stormwater again. That's my concern, that you guys sit up here and want this and want that, but you know what, in reality, you should have somebody in place that knows what that architect is doing, making sure that he did the stuff correctly and not leave a mess like you're having up there. And you see it all over, all this new housing development here. The town sitting up there, somebody should be responsible for that, and not us having to pay up. I have been here since '77 paying taxes, and every time I turn around, you're balancing on me. And I'm sick and tired of it. $10 for me is a lot of money, because people sitting on the board did not do their job, did not hire somebody to oversee, like right now, nobody's overseeing those projects out there.
Well, Lucy, I would kind of disagree with that. Our community development director is on top of those things.
Yeah, I can answer a few things. And I can give a big picture of stormwater, because we do have two big projects in town right now, Mustang Crossing and the Haga. So big picture stormwater is, this area is in a water critical zone. And so all our stormwater still has to make it back to the river. So they're not allowed to retain it. They're not allowed to hold it. And it's supposed to go back the historic route that it always went through. So when that field collected stormwater and then it flowed down, it has to stay that historic route. And so the reason why and again, I have to do some more research with them. I need to talk to them.
I wish you would.
But the reason why they were pumping is probably because they can't hold it, or they'd be against the state requirements. They have to release that water. It has to get back to the river.
We're talking more.
Let me finish, because
I've been dealing with this for
okay,
over a
and
month.
I'll do some research on that one. That's why I said I'm giving big picture. I'm not specific on that one because I do need to talk to them. But big picture stormwater, a pond is not allowed to hold it. It's got to be released at a historic rate at the same location that it was always released at. That's one for stormwater, and that's the big final stormwater when you have a pond in place. Now, there's also a permit for construction stormwater. That's the state's permit. We're too small of a town, so the state issues permits to a developer during construction season when they're building, and the state manages the construction stormwater. So that's the state. We don't have the permit. We don't have the enforcement, legal enforcement ability for that. That's a state legal enforced stormwater permit. So there's two different things that are at play here when it's under construction. When the project's completed, like Clover Meadows Phase 7, then it becomes the HOA's responsibility to manage their ponds unless the town's accepted those ponds. And so that's kind of big picture stormwater. Now, again, I do need to do more research on Haga and what happened there. You didn't call me, so I'm just hearing this, and I'll look into that.
Well, nobody answers the phone down here, so why are you gonna worry about it? That's why I'm here tonight in person.
Okay. The other question was, remind me what you just asked me.
Oh, she was concerned that we don't have anyone, yes.
So, we have town engineers. Again, because we're small, we contract with SGM Engineering, and we also have a Public Works Department. And so during the site development, they're out there doing the inspections. Now, when it comes to the building, when they're starting to do the vertical construction, we do have a building inspector, a local architect that we contract with, and he goes out and does all our inspections for buildings. And then we also have a plumbing inspector that does all the inspections for plumbing. So that we do have inspections going on throughout the whole project.
Is electrical through the state?
Electrical's through the state. So the state has an inspector that does all electrical.
Yeah, I had a question regarding, I'm Jim Class with Dove Ranch. Do we have any previous grants available? And I think Nicole answered that. Well, I guess my question is, did we make application at the time? And did we just not meet the requirements, like we're talking about having the fee structure? Or why weren't we able to get the grants back then?
We haven't applied for any for stormwater yet because the board hasn't done the final steps for the stormwater process.
Okay. So assuming that we do the fee structure and we do the requirements and make application, we got a good chance of getting a grant.
I never know the percentage, but in the 2.5 years I've been here, we've got almost $7 million in grants just for all the different things we've applied for. So our success rate is okay, but we can't guarantee we're going to get what we asked for because we've also been denied on some of them.
Well, hopefully we can meet the requirements and get started on it so that we have a good chance of being qualified for this grant.
And as you said, the competition out there.
Kat, that article that you were just showing us, that was available to us last year?
No, this was just completed this year.
Okay, but last year, if we would have applied for that grant, we could already be well on our way? Is that what you're saying?
No, we didn't.
We didn't have all the requirements yet then?
No, not yet, yes.
Okay, and when did this really just now become available to us?
Well, the last board approved the Stormwater Enterprise Fund. That was towards the end of the year. And then this drainage feasibility study was just done and presented to us on, I think, July 2nd.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Paul Black, 311 County Road 501, with the Schroeder Ditch. So, Schroeder Ditch has been here a long time. Been dealing with a lot of water coming into it. You asked if anybody's out there paying attention. Every time it rains, this young fella goes up to that ditch and shuts a tremendous amount of water out of our heading just so we can handle the amount of storm water that comes in there. If you're not familiar with the storage or the Schroeder Ditch, it runs through the middle of Bayfield. So it actually channels massive amount of water right to the middle of the town of Bayfield where you don't want water. So we've been working with the town of Bayfield for years to try to get some plans in place. We've got a lot of good work. There's a lot of good places that we can move water to to help with the stormwater, not just solve one subdivision's issue, but the whole town of Bayfield. I think we can all work together and really get a good plan in place. So I'm glad to see that the town is looking into this to really start making a good impact at this. When it comes to grants, it is very competitive out there, but this issue is really impacting agricultural ditch water in the town of Bayfield. I think we could partner up for sure with the town and maybe look at some other grants that would be helping. You know, when you look at stormwater and you look at agricultural water, it's two different uses. So stormwater comes off of roofs, asphalt, all that stuff. It's not supposed to be in agriculture. We could lose our exemptions that we have with our ag water. So I think we could partner and really work together at this. I think there's, with the knowledge that we have on ditches, there's a lot of old abandonments areas that we could have that aren't buying of easements. So let's work together and really focus on this and get it through there. Anything we can do to help, we're here. Please pick our brains. Like I said, Nicole, we've sat down with her multiple times. There's some really good options out there. So I just want to say thank you guys for looking into this, and let's get through this. I know we can. Yeah, it's been 19 years with the Dove Ranch. The Dove, yeah, every time it rains, we get about 15 CFS worth of water off of Dove Ranch.
Yeah.
And like I said, this man right here is up there at 3 in the morning, making sure the water's not flooding out houses and stuff like that. So tell him good job. He puts his time in, so.
Brian Blanchard. I live in Mesa Meadows, so we have minor issues as well. And we're probably looking at some sort of small assessment as well as an HOA. But my point is, I would encourage all of you, it's great to see this many people. It's kind of a shame that it's started on a negative note. I don't think it needs to be that way. Obviously, I think we're all coming around. But I would encourage all of you as citizens to once in a while stop into our meetings that we have here and keep up to date with kind of what's going on. This has been going on for a long time, and you don't want to have to wait until it's a knee-jerk reaction. Be more proactive with your town. It just is a word that I would encourage you to do that. Bring your kids, bring whatever, but come to some of our meetings. They're just incredibly exciting. So anyway, just for that.
We have Zoom too.
Just remember he said that.
We have Zoom too.
David Black, once again, I would echo what Brian just said. On a regular basis, I do tune in to the YouTube rendering of the meeting after the fact. I would encourage people to do that. I mean, we have a lot going on in this community. That this room is full is really a good thing. I mean, when I was on the board, this happened maybe twice. But generally, these people are working in a vacuum. They shouldn't be working in a vacuum. All of us should be paying attention to what's going on. All of us, all the time. This is our community. Get engaged. $10, it's cheap. However, just want you to give consideration. An enterprise fund is a great deal, but I think a storm district, a stormwater management district that is funded by property taxes is a better idea. But the stormwater enterprise fund can get us there. It can move us that direction. We need to have a revenue stream, absolutely. But we need to be able to bond stuff. You can't bond stuff with a fund. It's an enterprise fund. You can bond stuff when it has property tax attached to it. Just remember that. Thank you.
Take it off mute.
You know, I want to thank this gentleman over here for saying, please come. I'm standing here as a testimony that about a year and a half, 2 years ago, your Pine River Valley Senior Center was under turmoil. It looked like we were going to lose it because seniors came here and we fought. We reminded the town board and town manager who built that and why it was built. We went from 15 to 20 people, maybe, Wednesday and Friday for lunch, to 45 and 50 and sometimes 70 every Wednesday and Friday. And if it hadn't been for the town council giving us this room and being able to argue our platform, we might not have our building anymore. And I'm seeing a lot of you seniors over 60. Come and have fun with us. We have a ball. You'd be amazed. We meet on Mondays and Wednesdays for lunch, and come on down and join. You just have to call that morning for lunch. It's a lot of fun. And no, we're not troublemakers.
No more questions.
Any more questions?
He just offered it.
I think I can speak for the board in that no one wants to take
3B
Dove Ranch
is
out of
out.
the, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we don't want to,
I don't want any
Take-
of 3B
right, we don't want to take Dove Ranch out of the stormwater management plan.
or the HOAs.
Or
The detention ponds. Because that was a discussion as well, was taking the detention
Right.
ponds out. So I don't want to take out detention ponds, nor do I want to take out Dove
Do
Ranch.
we have a knotted agreement on that?
I agree with you.
Yeah.
The only thing that I worry about there with the detention ponds going from 2 to 32, do we have the manpower in staffed to maintain all 32 year round?
So we have a plan, that's the feasibility plan that will give us some start. The thing is that we still have nothing really to plan for. We've been planning for this for almost 4 years, this direction, and we weren't too sure where the board was going to go. So if this is the direction you want to go and you have a fee, then we can start to plan for actually operating a stormwater enterprise. At this point, I think we're unsure.
Okay, well, I just don't want anybody to take this the wrong way. I just don't want to start collecting money from all of you sitting here, and then you keep driving through the town and seeing that none of these ponds are being maintained or moved. That's why I asked this question, is because I want to make sure that we have the manpower behind us to actually update and maintain all these ponds that are so far behind meeting requirement.
Yeah, so part of the resolution, and it's the third resolution in the agenda today, gives some time for us to basically have those discussions with those HOAs to determine, can they certify and opt out of the fee? And if they can certify that they can opt out, then that will be 1 pond or 2 ponds or 30 ponds that the town doesn't maintain, and then we'd be maintaining those that,
But then wouldn't that, if all 30 ponds can opt out, wouldn't that
There's
put
only-
the fee only on a certain amount of people in the
There's
town
only
anyway?
1 pond that's compliant right now, out of all 30. So 29 of them, are not compliant at this point.
Well, the way I view it is, obviously, we have to vote on the $10. Then we have to come up with the plan of how we're going to get to it to service all of them. And it's not just a one-shot deal. And we're not going to do this resolution and just leave it be. There's a whole lot more work involved in this once we say yes to the resolution. So the town does have to be patient. It is going to take us time to ramp up to it if we vote yes on this. But you can be assured that if we say yes, we're going to move forward on what these plans are and work towards it. I mean, I can't see us just leaving it.
Well, and it's my
That would defeat the
understanding that
purpose.
these HOAs aren't really taking care of their ponds at this time. So this is going to kind of move that along in the sense that they can either be in the fund or they can opt out of the fund, but they still have to have their detention ponds up to standard before they can come in and be under the town fee. So there's accountability there for the HOAs that currently have the ponds. So There's going to be time that we're going to ramp up.
I
And
don't agree with having them opt out of it, though, because if
No.
they opt out of it, you leave the rest of the town responsible for the other repairs.
Right.
And so that's why I'm saying, like, if we vote resolution 625, we should vote down the other two. Like, we
gotcha.
shouldn't even do it.
No. Only the.
Sorry.
Only that one.
Only that one.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, that's
We-
why I divided
yeah.
those up, because
Yes,
I realized
thank
it was a
you.
little complicated.
Yeah. No.
That's what I was trying to get to. I was trying to, if they do, if they do end up opting out, then that does put the financial burden on just the few people, the few areas left in town that can opt out or anything like that.
Well, and being in an HOA, I know that I would pay a lot more on my home to manage the pond in Mesa Meadows than I would if I was just paying a $10 fee. So that's having that real discussion with the HOAs and determining really where they're at.
If I may, Lori Zazaro, 607 Hickory Ridge. I live in Mesa Meadows. I am the president of our board. We will be discussing this per what was in the packet. I think we're getting information sometime after November. Between November and December, we have to make a decision. We have a pond that is constantly full of water. We don't know why. I'm sure it's not in compliance. I will gladly make that recommendation to my board. Some of them are here in the room too, that we not opt out of this plan. So you have 2 ponds right now that will definitely be opting in for someone else to deal with our full of water pond.
Right.
So if that helps, two we're in.
Thanks, Lori.
I just want to play devil's advocate for a minute. This $10 is the starting point. The consultant suggested 29.
If we didn't get grants.
We don't know what kind of grants we're getting. We don't know if they're matching or not. We might get $1.5 million that's free and clear. We might get half of that we have to match. We might have to match the whole $1 million, okay? We had a matching grant to finish up Mill Street. We had a matching grant for $150,000. When it was all done, that project cost us $520,000. So we got the matching grant, but that doesn't mean we're all free and clear. So we start with $10. We could go up to 29, and just keep in mind, we're looking at a 10% increase in your water and a 10 to 15% increase in your sewer too. So you can all afford $10 right now. But 6 years ago when I moved here, my bill was 88. And with all these changes, it's going to be over 200.
Really quick, I just want some clarity on that 500,000 because I don't think that was correct.
It was $368,000.
Thank you.
And that's because we put the handrail on Buck Highway, and that's why we decided, that's why it went up, and this board approved that additional. And as far as there's a water study and a sewer study, the sewer is, the engineer is looking at a 5% raise, the water 10% raise. So those are what, and that study is also available on our website.
Can I just add one piece? When you're talking about the retention ponds, even if we bring them up to compliance, we have subdivisions stacked on subdivisions stacked on subdivisions. So we're releasing, and the older subdivisions that are below can't handle the water. What we need to focus on is we need a drain for the water to the river. So I think if we spend a bunch of money on bringing all of these retention ponds up to standards, we're not solving the issue. If we can get the water back to the river, you're probably going to see subdivisions not have to have that size of retention ponds. We can do it maybe at a location on the river. I just want you guys to think that. I think if we bring them all up to standards, we're still going to have the same issues. So if we're going to spend some money, let's really spend it in the right way. Let's get a drain back to the river where it needs to go.
Well, the way I view it is, it's not just about the repairs. I mean, it's ongoing building. It is ongoing problems. It's upkeep. It's all of that. What you're saying as well. I mean, this isn't a problem. I mean, it's a big problem right now because it was never handled or taken care of. It's probably more than it ever should have been as a problem. But if we look at it as like this is a permanency, this isn't just we're fixing this $5 million problem and then we're just done, wash our hands. It's We have to have somebody who manages stormwater. We have to be managing the stormwater all the time. So that's my view anyways.
And I would also say that I feel like that statement of the $29 is an incorrect statement. At this point, we're not looking at raising this stormwater fee any more than we already are. If that were to happen, you have a right to come in and talk about it. But that representing it that it's going to go there is a misrepresentation at this time. We were shocked when we saw the $29, and this board at that time unanimously voted for the $10. So we're not going there. That's a misrepresentation.
But that's what I was trying to bring up with the manpower too is, I mean, right now, we do have some stormwater drains, and they're never cleared or cleaned or anything because we don't have enough manpower to do that alone. So adding all of this and then trying to maintain the new stuff that we put in, that was my question. Do we have enough manpower to do this? What is it gonna cost us? Like, are we gonna have to hire 3 more guys, 5 more? How many is it gonna cost to do it?
We can't
One guy is not going to be able to cover all of that.
So
I also am looking at that as well. I'm just trying to find the proper way to go about this without major headache to everyone and financial burden to everyone.
Well, it's not going to be an immediate ramp up. It's going to take time. And so we're going to grow and address this as needed. So I understand your concern, Trustee Schnooks, but I think you have to understand that it's not going to happen overnight. So whatever time that we have to begin and accumulate, we'll make good decisions at that time.
Can you? I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
No, I can't. Sorry. I was just saying, I don't think we can lose sight of the fact that this is a health and safety issue. People who have their homes flooded are left with mold and untold numbers of illnesses that nobody can diagnose, often as a result of mold. So, as a community that's caring for each other, this is really an important issue that should be considered as well.
Mm-hmm. Great. Thank you. Are we ready to move on, Paul? Tom?
Yes. So we're going to move on to action agenda 3C, resolution 625, stormwater fee.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we accept resolution 623, the $10 stormwater fee.
Resolution
Yeah.
625.
Yes.
Oh, 625, excuse
Yes.
me.
And I will second that.
Got a motion and a second. I think we've discussed this
A lot.
a lot. Roll call, please.
Trustee Nyberg?
Yes.
Trustee Hartz?
No.
Trustee Katsos?
Yes.
Trustee Snooks?
Yes.
Trustee Moreland?
Yes.
Trustee McLaurin?
Yes.
And Mayor Ah.
No. Moving on to resolution 626, utility relief fund for,
yeah, Resolution 626 is a utility relief. This for anybody that is on LEAP, and if you know of anybody that's on LEAP that hasn't submitted their information to the town, they get 25% off of water, sewer, garbage, and mosquito spray. And in this resolution would waive the $10 in its entirety until another utility relief fund is set up for 2025.
any discussion by the board?
I would like to recommend I'd like to make a motion that we, where am I at now? I lost it already.
Approve resolution.
Yeah. Sorry, I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution 626, utility relief fund for stormwater.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Any public comment? Roll call.
Trustee Nyberg?
Yes.
Trustee Hartz?
Yes.
Trustee Katsos?
Yes.
Trustee Snooks?
Yes.
Trustee Moreland?
Yes.
Trustee McLaurin?
Yes.
And Mayor Ah.
Yes. Action agenda item 3E.
So this was in the ordinance. We're allowing HOAs to opt out of the fee. I heard earlier, but maybe this isn't a popular resolution. And of course, then there would be no other plan for them to opt out. So you can certainly vote this down if you still agree that HOAs would have some options to manage their own stormwater, then that's up to you.
So, is this a fair statement? That all of the subdivisions have it in their subdivision improvements agreement or somewhere in their plats that they are responsible for their own stormwater ponds?
Typically, it's in the CCR, and I'm not gonna, you'd have to look at every development across the town.
Yeah, so when I went back through and did the historic research for all the old plats, it was either on plat or in CCNRs or possibly in the subdivision improvement agreement. Usually it's not in the subdivision improvement agreement because that's for public improvements only. So those are improvements that the town will take ownership of someday. So the stormwater ponds were not put in there because we were not gonna take.
Okay, so is it fair to say that they're all in the CCRs or on the plats?
The ones I found, yes.
For the 32 ponds? I think I may have my numbers mixed up, but I'm not positive.
So it seems to me that what we should do is shelf this HOA opting out and allow the fee to go into place. And if there are HOAs that have issue with this, they can come to the town and present at that time. But I think that having them opt out is not a good idea at this time. So that's what I think.
I would probably, instead of tabling it, I would probably prefer that you just deny this resolution.
Sure.
Would be the motion, if that's your choice, versus keeping it open.
Yep. Mr. Mayor, I would like to deny Resolution 627 regarding the HOA's ability to opt out of the Stormwater Enterprise Fund.
I'll second. Oh,
And that's in the form of a motion.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, I'm motion.
You're moving to deny.
Okay, moving to deny. Do I have to repeat that all over again?
No.
Oh, thank you.
I'll second.
You're still good with your second? I got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion from the board? Is there any public input? Roll call?
Trustee Nyberg?
Yes.
Trustee Harts?
No. Oh, I'm
Tru-
sorry, yes, to deny, yes.
Trustee Katsos?
Yes.
Trustee Snooks?
Yes.
Trustee Moreland?
Yes.
Trustee McLaurin?
Yes.
And Mayor Ah.
Yes.
Feels weird saying yes.
I know, right?
Yeah, that was kind of backwards. Not your fault.
My stomach is
Like someone had done it, I
upset.
would've.
Moving on to the Upper Pine Fire Protection District impact fees.
I believe Greg French is here. There he is.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I assume all of you have a copy of this. This was distributed to the town about a week ago.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm just here to answer any questions or explain anything for the impact fee study that you might have. So the board from Upper Pine River Fire Protection District directed the administration to engage RPI consultants about 9 months ago to study the feasibility and the possibility of assessing impact fees in our fire district. The study you have before you is the results of RPI's work. RPI took a look at growth rates, took a look at our capital improvement plans, took a look at our call volume, and using mathematical models and for the future call volume of Upper Pine River, we came up with the impact fees that you see before you. We're currently looking at $1,191 per residence. and $1,187 per 1,000 square feet of non-residential.
Is that per annually or one time?
It's a one-time fee that
One-time
would
fee?
be assessed with the building permit.
So new construction, gotcha. Not to you.
New construction only, yes. 100%, new construction only.
Okay,
Okay.
makes sense. Got to go with the Senate bill that was voted in.
So this is going to raise the cost of every lot $1,200.
Yep. Or
Okay.
more because there's 1,000-foot non-residential floor area. So
For-
your garage?
No, so that would be,
Okay.
so it's either classified as residential or non-residential. So for instance, Tractor
Okay.
Supply would be non-residential.
Even if your garage is separated? Okay.
Nope.
Just double checking.
One permit.
So $1,200.
Well, and that makes sense because as the town grows, the demand on your services grow. So this is kind of a buy-in for new residents to say, hey, you know, we need fire district and fire support, and I think it makes perfect sense to me.
Can I add a few things?
Please.
Please.
So I have reviewed the report and provided a few comments back to chief and deputy chief. And in the past, the state statute required a district to go to the jurisdiction and go through the jurisdictions process, and therefore jurisdiction would adopt an ordinance. And I think my original concern, I didn't realize that the statute changed in May of this year. So my original concern was when if they don't go to the county, because the county's in their district as well, not just the town. And so if they don't go to the county and they just come to the town, then our fees are higher than the county's, and therefore it'll encourage development in the county, which doesn't have standards, and therefore you see a sprawl type of development versus development standards in the town. And that's when I learned that they're actually just seeking comments. They have a period of time where they seek comments from the board and from the town, and it's actually not an ordinance anymore that the town adopts. And then we would have to figure out at what point, after building permit before CO, that fee gets paid. One of the requests that I had, for Everpine that I'd like the board to consider for comments is we are really trying to encourage affordable workforce housing in our community. And we are getting grants for workforce housing, deed restricted developments. We've got 3 grants for deed restricted projects in town. And then we'd like to see, affordable rentals and things like that in the future as well. And so my request is the board consider asking for either a waiver or a reduction for projects that are getting deed restrictions or subsidies for affordable housing. So not just because someone comes in and says, I'm doing affordable housing. They actually have to go
Deed
through the
restrict.
process and get subsidized for rentals and deed restrictions for sale. And I would love to see those units get a reduced or waived fee. The town board last year approved a waiver of building permits for those types of units. So we already have language in place that we could give to Upper Pine to do that. And I know that Durango Fire Protection District also waives fees for those types of units, because I worked with them on that one when they came to for their fees. And so their study does have a fee waiver for those types of units. So I just wanted to put that out there for the board's consideration.
Oh,
Well,
thank you.
Seeing as I'm on the RHA board, I 1,000% agree with that, and would like to know if they'd waive it.
So our board is seeking comment, like Nicole mentioned. We sent this to the town a week ago, and there's a 60-day comment period. And you would direct those comments to the Upper Pine River Fire Protection Board of Directors.
So do we need to do that through you?
Well, so I think that we had kind of the wrong understanding of this, and
Okay.
so it would probably be collected at a building permit time, unless there's some other mechanism that the Upper Pine had determined. So your comments, we'll try to collect your comments and send them all back collectively from the Board of Trustees.
Do you need us to email the comments
I would
that we have?
prefer you
Okay.
email them to me so you can all approve them, and so we can send them as a collective agent. You can certainly do it as a citizen of the district as well. But
Perfect.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
Lori Zero 607
If we're waiving impact fees for our housing projects, are we also asking that that the school district, because when I built my house, I had to pay many fees, and I'm just wondering, is it only for fire protection districts that this request is for, or do we also ask the others who have impact fees for them to waive for those special housing projects?
And we have, the school district came in before we started looking at waiving fees.
Okay.
So their impact fee's been established, but it's something if the board's interested. The board adopted the school district impact fee ordinance because I don't know if they have the same ability as the fire district.
They do not, Nicole.
Okay, so they still have
This is new and unique to fire protection
the
districts.
board, you know, they can address that and if they want to go back to the school district and say, we'd like to see that. But
Just-
right now, it's not.
Just wanting to make sure it's equitable across everyone who gets to collect an impact fee.
The school district does not charge for commercial because that commercial does not produce student population. And then they have two, they have one for single family detached and then one for like more of attached. They do have two different rates. But that's something, I mean, if the board wants, we can approach them as well.
Okay, thank you.
Any comments from the board? Any other public input?
Go, Phyllis.
Thank you. I personally think we don't do enough for our fire department. Most of their calls are medical, and I'm one of the old white-haired ladies that depended on them for family for years. So I think that we ought to thank them for coming forward and asking what they need, and I think we should be in full support. Thank you.
What is the pleasure of the board?
Well, do we need to include the exceptions before we make a motion?
Do you want exceptions, or do you want that to be a comment to the Upper Pine?
I thought we were not voting on it, we were just making comments.
So
because
we would
misunderstood
still
how-
probably adopt an ordinance.
Okay.
And this is 60 days, so you have until September, looks like, basically to finish any ordinance. And hopefully, you know, maybe the fire district says, well, maybe there's a deal for affordable housing that actually is deed restricted. But obviously, I know Greg's probably not going to make that decision tonight, so.
Our board will make that decision.
Yeah, I think we'd really like to see an affordable housing restriction on there, for sure.
So
I would agree with
Table
that.
it, so she can rewrite it?
You can
Yeah.
just table
Yep.
it. Mhm.
Yep. So I'll make a
Need a
motion to.
motion
Come
to
back.
There you
table
go.
it?
Yeah, I would table this.
You need a motion to table it?
I would motion to table it so
Yes.
it comes back before the deadline of the 60 days is up.
I'd like to make a motion to table item number 3F, Upper Pine River Fire Protection District impact fees, so that we have time to readjust
And
the-
send comments.
And send comments.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll
Nope.
call, please.
Trustee Nyberg,
Yes.
Trustee Harts.
Yes.
Trustee Katzos.
Yes.
Trustee Snooks.
Yes.
Trustee Moreland.
Yes.
Trustee McLaurin.
Yes.
And Mayor Ah.
Yes. Durango Emergency and Dispatch Services.
So I will let Chief Hogue basically speak to this client services.
This is an ongoing service that we have with them year after year.
Can't hear you.
This is an ongoing service we have year after year with them. The wording was changed now that we're part of Spillman, that we own some of the data. So if there's any core requests, we have to do it instead of them. So that's what the change is in the wording. Otherwise, it's the same wording that has been year after year.
And you're okay? That's an okay thing for you?
Yes.
Okay.
I did find a number of mistakes and sent them back to our staff to then send back to La
Zeta.
Plata County or City of Durango, and hopefully they'll incorporate all those changes. With those changes, I'd recommend that you adopt this.
We got all the changes last week and I forwarded them on. They already agreed to everything in full.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to authorize you to execute the client service agreement.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Public comment? Roll call.
Trustee Nyberg?
Yes.
Trustee Hartz?
Yes.
Trustee Katzos?
Yes.
Trustee Snooks?
Yes.
Trustee Moreland?
Yes.
Trustee McLaurin?
Yes.
And Mayor Ah.
Yes. Moving on to 4A, approval of the minutes from July 16th, 2024.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the July 16th regular meeting minutes presented by Town Clerk Dustin Hayden.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Nyberg?
Yes.
Trustee Hartz?
Yes.
Trustee Katzos?
Yes.
Trustee Snooks?
Yes.
Trustee Moreland?
Yes.
Trustee McLaurin?
Yes.
And Mayor Ah.
Yes. Verify attendance roster for the workshop from, do we need to do each one of these separate?
You can do them all together unless there's some reason to separate them.
I noticed on here on one of them, it says that I was at it, and I wasn't.
What one?
I believe it was
The last one,
The 30th.
the 30th.
Oh, I got my dates mixed up. I'm not on there. We're good.
Okay.
I thought I was going on the 29th.
However, you were sorely missed.
I thought I was going on the 29th. My bad.
Yeah, you're good.
Are you here now?
I'm here now. Maybe.
Do you need a motion?
No, just confirmation.
Just
I'll
confirmation
con-
that,
I
that,
confirm it.
yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good.
You good?
Yeah, now I am.
Laura, you good?
I think so, yes.
Sounds like we're good.
Okay.
4B, town manager report.
Yes, so we are advertising for the Assistant Public Works Director, and the wastewater operator applications are under review. And they did interview last week, and they're going to do another interview next week for water operators. And so looks like we have some good candidates there. I know Jeremy's looking at maybe some little bit of transition. And maybe looking at some different staffing, basically to fill those positions. I know that he's certainly burning the candles at both ends, with Corey gone and with one of our major water operators gone as well. Digital accessibility, our website, they said that they were going to, all our subscribers would go to the Drupal 10. But unfortunately, they couldn't go to Drupal 10 because people didn't actually have an account to actually transfer to your subscription for the website. And so if you if you were subscribed and you're not getting newsletters or agendas or packets or whatever for the public, you have a way to do that. You do have to get an account. You have to sign up, and then you choose the things that you want. You want a newsletter, you want planning commission, you want board of trustees. But the accessibility, we're still struggling with a lot of missed links in the new Civic Plus website. But anyway, I just want to make sure that you resubscribe to that. I don't know how the ice cream chat went yesterday. I did finish the About Bayfield, got that out, and that's also on our website as well. So that's out. The chip seal project should be here soon. You may notice that all the arrows on 160 are ground down. They're getting ready to do the chip seal project that will basically go east of Bayfield. And the director performance evaluations, a survey kind of similar to mine in the last couple of years, they're all getting. So we're doing that performance evaluation, that method. You know, I don't know how it's working for them, but some interesting comments and definitely a good, you know, good discussion from maybe their subordinates. So effective governance on the road, they're actually going to be in Durango on the 29th of August. I've signed up Trustee Harts if anybody else is interested in going. It is 10:30 in the morning to 2:30. It's at the library. Lunch is provided, and if you're interested in going, please let me know and I'll sign you up. There's a sandwich. If you are a vegetarian or gluten-free, please let me know so that I can just sign you up simply for that lunch.
Repeat that date again for me, Katie.
It's 29th. It's a Friday.
Okay.
Of August or September?
Of August. Yep.
That's a Thursday.
So I only have 2 bios and 2 photos for Trustee Katsos and Trustee Moreland. And if you would like your bio and a photograph on our website, it would be great to have something. If you really don't want to go that direction, then we'll have 2 trustees that are on our website. So, I mean, I know that sometimes the time gets away from you, but the election was in April, so about 4 months.
I think with our town being so small, it would be nice if all the board members would do that, just because you're around town and it's nice to see your trustee faces around.
Well, typically I would put a link for your email address, and I was just waiting for all 7 of you to sign up so that they can email you directly. But,
great. And
without
any of you
that-
unsavvy techie people, I'd be happy to help you. Sorry. I'd be happy to help you, Laura.
I thought I had sent mine over. I'll have to locate where I saved it and
Sure.
get back to working on it, I guess.
And just a little clerical error. For me, the 2024, the 2's missing.
Oh. It actually says 2024. I just took a screenshot of, so it's cut
gotcha.
out. Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
I don't even remember
Dustin?
sending it.
All right, I'll just give a quick kind of synopsis of my report. I do want to really call out that the last block party of the year is Thursday.
Yes.
So it's really a great chance to get out, have some fun, get some good food, and learn about a lot of things. We had a lot of informative booths there this year. So get the word out for me on that. We're hoping for a strong showing for the very last one of the year. Did the 4th of July debrief with all the department heads and Katie and myself. It was very informative. Running these big events, I try to absorb as much as I can from the people around me, and I have some great resources for that. I have been in touch with Bayfield School District about the homecoming event. Homecoming is actually before Heritage Days this year, so that's a big change. They have not got back to me yet with the exact date, but the date I keep hearing is the Friday the 13th. Also with that going, softball is getting ready to wrap up. We are in the tournament right now. Actually, we have tournament this week and next week, and that'll be wrapped up. Registration is open for fall soccer and flag football, so please get the word out for that as well. Flag football, I had to cancel the 5th and 6th graders last year because I only had 7 kids sign up. And we are the only flag football program in the area, so that's really a great thing, and we'd like to keep that going. And this kind of been my kind of legacy project I've been looking at. DJ and I are looking at getting on the school board's agenda. We want to go to talk to the school board about the middle school gym. It's something that really needs to be looked at for the community by us and by the school district. We really need a partner, find a way to really improve that gym. So that's something that's definitely getting bumped up to my list. I do have an email into them as well to hopefully use the field at the primary school for this year's soccer. I'm thinking of, if they'll let me stripe the field, I think I'm going to move the flag football to that field and kind of alleviate some of the problems we have there. Any questions for me?
I sure appreciate you reaching out to the school board and trying to initiate that, better relationships. So good job.
I had to wait for them all to get back in office. I've been kind of chomping at the bit. As Katie
Sure.
knows, I'm talking about the gym all the time. We could do so many things there if we partnered up and improved it.
Yeah.
So.
Parks and Trails?
Yes, good evening. I just have one update. You all have got my report. At least this meeting, I'll make it quick. We were able to make the repair to the filtration system at Joe Stevenson Park for the ditch irrigation. We did not get any assistance from Rainbird. Joe and I just went through the whole thing, took it all apart. And with our luck, at the very end of it, found the issue. There was a hole in one of the manifolds on one of the valve bodies. We replaced that part and it's now working great. So that's been solved. Was great to have the municipal water because we used that for the week that it was down. So we were able to keep watering the fields with that. We also replaced the solenoid at Eagle Park. It's probably a short-term fix, probably something that we are gonna have to probably dig up and replace some wiring. We've had this issue even with like our sports field scoreboard. The water table is so high, it just erodes the wires, so we most likely be putting that in conduit to prevent that. Yeah, I don't know if you noticed a change at Mesa Park, Matt.
It is getting better, I saw that.
Yeah, I do believe we're gonna have to add maybe another couple heads over there, because it still looks like a little bit is not being covered, but overall it seems to be improved quite a bit. Yeah, other than that, unless you guys have any questions for me, that's all I got for you tonight.
And thank you for getting on that. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no worries.
Moving on to the financial action agenda. July 2024 disbursements.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to accept the July 2024 disbursements.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Any public comment? Roll call.
Trustee Nyberg?
Yes.
Trustee Harts?
Yes.
Trustee Katzos?
Yes.
Trustee Snooks?
Yes.
Trustee Moreland?
Yes.
Trustee McLaurin?
Yes.
And Mayor Ah.
Yes. 5B, data safe internet speed management.
Yeah, so Christine from DataSafe is here. So to answer questions, we have been, Chief and I have been working with Christine to kind of go over some of these bills. The first one for the $5,886 was basically to clear some barriers in the internet. We went up to 1G, so we're paying for 1G, but we were still getting 1 meg. So anyway, this was to clear that out. I'm not going to be an expert on what that all means. So I don't know if Christine, if you would like to come up here to the hot mic. But
You notice she didn't say hot seat.
That first bill is related to, as she was saying, getting everybody 1G service at their desktops. And part of the issue is that the town of Bayfield network has been intermingled with the Fast Track network. Fast Track provides your phones and your service for that, and then DataSafe takes care of the town's network that services the police station and all the other buildings and everything. For whatever reason, those two networks have been intermingled for years, and it's been on our list to clean up, but it kind of all came to a head with the project with the police department and the new phone system and everything else. So unfortunately, the only way to unravel all that is for staff people to spend some time doing it, and that's what that bill is related to. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you have about it.
Well, it's something that needs to be done.
And the bad news is we're not finished yet.
Yeah.
So but we will make sure that we don't do any work without talking with Katie and the chief and coming up with a plan. Our staff is trying to kind of, I have assigned everybody to make a list of all the problems that still remain and how we're going to tackle them, and then maybe we can just do it a little bit at a time.
So Katie, is there money in the budget for this?
Well, there's a lot of money that this is going to cost the town.
I know, that's why.
So the $5,886 is probably not a big issue. The $15,000, the next one is probably there'll be money that we can find and other things that we've cut services or cut expenses for. It's 5D that's going to get a little bit different. So yes, there is money. There is some expenditure cuts that have been made over the years that we can handle this.
And I would like to point out, hopefully, that you are seeing that we gave you a fairly significant discount on that particular bill. It started out at a little over $7,000, so.
What difference does it make whether it's in Denver or Cortez?
Well, that isn't related to this.
Okay. Oh, that's the second
so
one.
if you wanna-
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, we'll
Okay,
talk about that, though.
gotcha.
So what do we need to do for 5B?
So for 5B, you would have to approve the $5,886. It's over $5,000. It's work that's already been done.
Yeah.
So
It's already gotta pay. Okay.
it would be divided amongst the funds that typically pay for this type of service.
Okay.
And mostly the police department.
Mr. Mayor, I'd make a motion to fund the internet speed management of $5,886.
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Nyberg,
Yes.
Trustee Hartz,
Yes.
Trustee Katzos.
Yes.
Trustee Snooks,
Yes.
Trustee Moreland,
Yes.
Trustee McLaurin,
Yes.
and Mayor Ah.
Yes. Okay, 5C.
Now the other one.
You're still there.
I'm still here. I don't have the agenda.
That's all right. It's NRC migration. Yeah.
The non-recurring costs. Okay, so what happened? In the technology world, a large majority of people used a company called VMware to create a virtual environment, if you will, for companies all over the world. A company called Broadcom, whose stock is just skyrocketing, purchased VMware and basically thumbed their nose at pretty much anybody that wasn't an enterprise-sized business. So there are a lot of small and medium-sized businesses that utilize VMware. We were one. We had not only the town of Bayfield, but several other clients that utilize a virtual environment for servers. When this happened, we had a little bit of heads up, but Broadcom purchased VMware at the end of 2023. They did a terrible job of rolling out how they were going to manage VMware going forward. And in April, they told us that basically we either had to sign on with a third party, a different third party. We could no longer buy VMware the way that we had been. And if we didn't want to do that, they would just shut us off. So you can look this up on the internet. There are oodles of articles and conversations from very upset technology companies around all this. We had to make a game time decision between the end of April and the end of May. The end of May was our deadline to tell Broadcom what we were going to do. And honestly, a lot of people are moving away from VMware simply because of this. So we decided to go with a different virtual environment, which is called Proxmox, not VMware. And so we had to move everything that was VMware, the entire virtual environment for the town of Bayfield, over to Proxmox. Our staff does not have the experience with Proxmox, so we partnered with a company out of Denver who does, and that's why the virtual environment for Bayfield got moved to Denver.
Okay.
We moved all of ours. All of our customers are there now. However, that came at a cost. VMware was going to cost us easily 5 to 6 times what we had been paying a year for VMware. And by moving to Proxmox and utilizing this other company, our costs have gone up about 3 times. So none of it's good news. And everybody in the technology space is struggling with this. So that is why this happened and why we moved everything. Now, Bayfield has a virtual environment simply because having virtual servers and domain controllers and all those things allow you to operate a business on you're charged a monthly fee as opposed to buying hundreds of thousands of dollars of hardware that are good for 5 to 7 years and then having to replace that. Previously, DataSafe owned our own servers, but because we didn't have experience with Proxmox, that's why we partnered with this company out of Denver. So now our entire virtual environment is housed up there. So, but our days of inexpensive solutions are behind us for sure. So the non-recurring cost spreadsheet that you have is simply the cost that we were charged to set it up, get things moved over there. What they did was create a replication. They replicated what was on the servers in Cortez in Denver and then they set up a Proxmox, the new Proxmox servers, and then you have to run those a little bit side by side to make sure everything's working correctly before you can turn the old ones off. So all of this migration is the non-recurring costs, just simply what it costs to do that work. And we have paid for all of that up front. DataSafe has already paid for that.
So real quick before you go on, I have a question for town manager. In our contract, what does it say about, like, do we have anything that prevents this, that they can do this? I mean, I'm not.
No, I understand.
I have to do.
Yeah, no.
Ask questions for the
So
town's benefits.
I do have their contract here. Let me just see here.
Because before we do that, I would like to know whether or not we're responsible or liable for their cost increase like that. Maybe the contract's something we should
So
look
most
at.
of this was through managed service.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm going to go through here.
So I would also say that this was kind of a unique situation and not necessarily addressed in the managed services contract. We did what we thought was best for all of our customers. I totally understand where you're coming from. I don't have an issue with that. Just
protecting the interests
Absolutely.
of money that our
Yeah,
citizens.
no, I totally understand.
Put forward. I almost feel like we should maybe review the contract a little deeper before we
I would agree.
vote on that.
In that, your question is a good one, and the question ultimately is to what extent is Bayfield responsible under the management services agreement for this issue that rose, no fault of.
Yeah,
our
don't blame your
client.
organization
Oh,
at
no,
all.
no,
or
no, I'm not.
I don't have
You're
any ill
totally
will.
fine. You're totally fine. I'm not taking it personally, certainly. The contract in question was a 3-year contract that expired at the end of April. It does say in the contract that we will continue on month to month until, you know, you guys decide to do something else or we sign a new contract. So just so you're aware of that.
Can we table that then?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just need more information
Yeah,
around
me
that,
too.
so.
I'll have to take some time and maybe send it to a town attorney Goldman.
Yeah, that would be great. So I would suggest tabling that item 5C.
Yep.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to table 5C, data safe NRC migration for $15,386.25.
I'll second that.
Table it to the next meeting.
Yes.
Yes. I'll second that too.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I do have one question. Will you be doing any training, in-house training on this Proxmox?
It's not something you
can't-
guys touch.
Okay.
I
I was talking about
mean
you,
for us?
yeah, your group.
Well, that's why we partnered with this company
Okay.
out of Denver.
Okay.
Because we have one network engineer, and
Mhm.
he is a Cisco person.
Mhm.
He didn't know a lot about Proxmox, and when we weighed what it would cost to bring him up to date in order to manage our virtual environment,
Mhm.
what it would cost us to migrate was
Mhm.
the more affordable of the two. So it would be our intention from here on out to continue to partner with this company in Denver. I could absolutely introduce you to the owner. He would be more than happy to talk about any of this with you guys. But
Mhm.
I don't anticipate, unless we hire a new network manager, network engineer, that we would go back hands-on
Gotcha.
and buy our own servers
Yeah.
again.
It's just nice to have cross-training,
Mhm.
especially should anything happen with this company, you know, to have someone up to speed
Well,
within
there
your
are
own.
other companies who also deal in
Mhm.
Proxmox.
Oh, okay.
It's a lot of the companies that were using VMware are
Mhm.
moving to this, and so it's not impossible to find other companies to
Ah,
partner with.
okay.
And so I don't anticipate that being
Mhm.
a problem
Okay.
in the future for us.
Any other questions? Oh, wait, we got a motion and a second. Roll call.
Trustee Nyberg?
Yes.
Trustee Hartz?
Yes.
Trustee Katsas?
Yes.
Trustee Snooks?
Yes.
Trustee Moreland?
Yes.
Trustee McLaurin?
Yes.
And Mayor Ah.
Yes. Moving on to 5D.
So then the next one is the difference between what your billing did look like and what it looks like now with the new servers located in Denver.
And the storage for the police department was removed in, I think it was June,
At the end of July.
at the end of July. So we no longer pay for that storage. And keep in mind that our network could use some cleaning up. You know, we have pictures, 15 years old that probably we don't need anymore. Photographs take a lot of space. Videos take even more. As we've transitioned, we've looked around on who's doing what and what's doing it. So that's going to be probably a winter project to start cleaning up our server storage, but does not necessarily take care of some of the other things that Christine can explain.
So I assume you all have that spreadsheet that
Yes.
I have. So the charges are, the first charge is for the server itself, and that is done by size. Then there's a charge for the disk space that the data on the server is taking up. And then now we have a monthly fee for the Windows 2022 server license. And prior to this, years ago, you were able to buy a server license, and you just bought it once until they quit taking care of it. Well, now everybody's moving to software as a service, and so everything is by subscription. So it's basically everything becomes a monthly fee.
Yes.
So each of those servers have those things, although the domain servers don't actually store data on them, so there's no disk space on the domain controllers. So hopefully that's fairly self-explanatory. We did not migrate the NetMotion server, which was part of the police department, because we figured out a workaround for the police department's stuff. So luckily that didn't have to be migrated. And then the other things down there are just the software charges of what are managed services. Like we provide you with Microsoft Office and Outlook Exchange. We do the workstation support, so we're able to remote in. We supply antivirus software, do all the updates, take care of any problems that come up on the workstations.
This reminds me of the days when it was like, we're Ma Bell and we don't care. Meaning that, it's a cost of doing business anymore, all of this. And when you look at the software needs and the protections and the security, it's very costly.
And it just is getting more expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, I had to have a lot of these conversations with different customers. So basically the increase in the price though is mostly due to the monthly bill is mostly due to migrating these servers to the company in Denver. And because they're charging for things that, because we owned our own servers and had you hosted on there, that we didn't necessarily charge you for. But we're not able to do that anymore. Our servers were at a point that we needed to replace them, which was another reason we decided to go with Proxmox and partner with this company in Denver. So,
What are some of the things they're providing that you weren't able to when we had?
we were providing them, we just weren't charging you for them.
So what are those?
Well, you can look on there. So one was the Windows licenses.
Oh, okay.
Like
Okay.
that was an example. We did not, there was a VPN between Bayfield and Cortez for the data to be secure going back and forth. We never charged you for that VPN. He does. What else? Just the size of the space that the servers were taking up, that wasn't something that we were charging for. And I'll say this all happened before I came along, and so we should have been charging, but nobody ever did. So you can feel really good that you got a pretty good deal for quite a while, although I know that doesn't help the pain now. So those kinds of things, just the storage space, we weren't charging you very much for the storage space of all the data itself.
So this isn't like once the migration's done, the fees will level out?
Well, they will in terms of it will be the monthly recurring billing at the bottom of that. You'll see like what is in there for August and September are very similar.
Yep.
So the migration is finished.
Okay.
Everything is operating smoothly. We've had a few hiccups, but nothing that we haven't been able to fix. We are still running into some problems with the network in terms of the intermingling between Fast Track and DataSafe, and we're trying our best to figure that out. But again, that's going to take man hours, and we won't do anything else with it unless we get your approval.
What's their security rating?
How do you mean?
Well, when, because there's so many like ransomwares and things like that. So what protections do they have in place? And, again, their security rating, aren't they rated as far as the incidents and that sort of thing that happen?
There's, I'm not familiar with that terminology. So what we have in place is what is industry standard, like the town of Bayfield has a firewall, we have switches, we have antivirus on all the servers and all the workstations. We're trying to make sure, that's one of the reasons why we need to separate these two networks, because I don't know what Fast Track has as security measures. I'm not privy to their business.
We also have a software that everybody gets to make sure that there is not human error in letting some of this stuff in as well.
So there's, and there's a lot of stuff we could do with that. The antivirus, the sort of level of cybersecurity that we have for the town of Bayfield is the base level. And it would be my recommendation that we up that, but certainly cost is a consideration, and that's something that I'll present to Katie at some point. We are, we have a monitoring network so that if something comes up and looks suspicious, we can sandbox it. There's the company that we use to provide some of this software has a what they call a SOC and a NOC. And so if they see something really suspicious, so it filters through them first, and then if something that they catch, they'll let us know so that we can go take a look at it. Sometimes things still squeak through, occasionally weird emails or whatever. I mean, if those people would just use their powers for good instead of evil, our lives would be so much easier. So,
Understood.
So what do you need on this one?
So currently, you'll see that the difference is approximately $4,000 a month additional than what we have been paying. There's also the, let's see, I'm sorry, I got the month here at the very top, May, June, and July. It was an additional almost $6,000 a month that we owe DataSafe. In the discussions I had with Christine, she said, well, we understand that maybe the town of Bayfield doesn't want to do that, wants to go out to bid or look for another IT coverage for the town. Everybody thinks, well, we can hire somebody. Well, for $2,300 a month, we can't hire a person. Most of this is software, security, storage, that, a human person that's not the cost. She does understand that maybe we go out and do a request for bid. You're going to have to hire a specialist to basically put that request for proposal together. That's not something that, me and Nicole and Dustin can put together. It really takes somebody that understands this, today's IT environment. Or you can have analysis. You can have, IT analysis as well. That also will cost money to determine if DataSafe is providing the services that we need. Is there anything we don't need? Every time a new employee starts, well, we got to get them Adobe, Word, Excel. So those are things that all cost money, including an email. That also costs money as well. Is this something that you would like to pay for a while and just consider your options, or you would like to transfer? You're going to have to hire an IT specialist to put a request for proposal together. Just putting that solid waste proposal together was quite a process. And I understand trash. I don't necessarily understand today's world in IT.
Well, I understand what you're saying, Katie. It seems to me, since we just went through this migration, that we should go along with this for a while. And I'm not opposed to going to bid at some point. I think it's always healthy to know cost differences and performance differences and whatnot. But to me, having just gone through this migration, I think we just want to make sure that the town can operate and have no glitches with that at this time.
We're in the middle of budget season, and so I would say to put something on the budget, put it in there for next year for us to look at. I mean, it doesn't have to be the end of the year either. It could be the beginning of the year. just because I don't think we should have it in this year's budget,
Mm-hmm.
but I would like to look and see what it would take for us if we have to budget it in and where we can cut some places and put it in others. I would ideally like to see what other organizations are charging, just because that's a huge increase.
Well, we have a beast, Cassell and a lot of our
Right.
financial software and
Which I get.
protecting our social security numbers, and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
If you've ever been for the community that has been taken down,
Oh, no, I
Yeah.
work at a bank. Hello, I'm okay with security. It's not about that.
Yeah.
For me, it's like, I want to see justification. I mean, I get what you're going through, and it's wholly justified where you're coming from, but justification to the citizens of why we would stay with a company that all of a sudden charges us double because they have issues.
I would actually suggest that you hire a specialist to do an analysis of
Yes,
your IT.
that's what I'm saying, is I'd like to put that into the budget.
Versus doing a request for proposal, because you need to know what's
What's out there.
Yeah,
Yes.
what they're doing, and do we need everything? The one thing about it, every laptop every tablet that shows up has to have all the other software, and we even have the planning commission that wants tablets. So before you know it, you start to we make sure we're better at communication, and it all costs money.
Right.
Tell them they don't want them because they don't work half the time.
I just think it's always healthy to have a cost comparison. So I'm with you, Brenna. I like
Cost
that idea.
comparison or analysis?
An analysis, but just so we understand. Because,
That will cost money too.
oh, I understand. I
I'll
understand.
find
But
it.
Nothing we do does is free.
right, yeah, yes. Right now, this is all we have. And
Right.
so I feel like an analysis would be healthy. It's just due diligence. So I agree with what you proposed there, Brenna.
So now do we make a motion to say we're gonna go with this for a while, but we're gonna look into an analysis, or?
Well, I think that as a business, Data Safe doesn't want to just keep losing money. So if you're not ready to transfer out and find that transfer, then you probably need to find a way to give her a heads up. It just can't go on for months. We're already over a half a year that they're losing money on the town of Bayfield. So.
Yeah, I see.
So
I don't
So-
have a problem with paying the current fee if it's in the budget, but I would like to still do an analysis.
So that's what I meant by.
Okay, so the fee that she's been charging us?
Right,
Yeah.
correct.
Do we need a motion?
And then, well, you should make a motion.
Yeah.
The fee that the Data Safe should be charging us, and then look at funding, at least find out what it's gonna cost to get somebody to do an analysis of our IT budget. And I know what they're gonna say, you need to reduce all the storage, and that's, well.
Right.
Yeah. All right, you
Chief
guys.
points at
Yeah.
himself.
The police department is no longer in trouble
Yeah.
around that.
I'm curious though, which one is it? Is it, because I'm looking at the bottom of that spreadsheet on total, and it's not the same each month, so I don't know what.
So, I got the.
Is it the 6,2405
That's what
and
we've
the
paid.
2,300?
That's what you have been paying?
So we.
Plus the 2,300 is what I
So
was-
we owe $37.12 for May, $63.15 for June, $63.15 for July, and about $4,000 for August.
And August will be different because we were able to take FS2 offline.
What I'm saying is we're trying to figure out to put in the motion, what that amount is, and I just need an amount.
Well, it'd be the difference. Do you want to pay the difference from May, June, July, and then continue to pay the billing amount for the rest of the year until you have an analysis and determine if this is the
Gotcha.
direction you would like
Okay.
to go?
So that.
I understand. So I'd like to make a motion to continue with Data Safe and pay the June, does it start with June? I gotta
Ju-
scroll up.
May, June, July.
May, June, and July differences that are on our packet, and then to go with the billing statement from that point forward, with the idea that an analysis will be done next year and to put that into the budget for next year.
Phew, I'll second that.
Thank you.
Got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Nyberg?
Yes.
Trustee Hartz?
Yes.
Trustee Katzos?
Yes.
Trustee Snooks?
Yes.
Trustee Moreland?
Yes.
Trustee McLaurin?
Yes.
And Mayor Ah.
Yes.
I know.
Well, thank you. I appreciate.
That was hard. That was
your,
hard.
And we just need the attorney to look at the other one to figure
no,
that
and
out.
I'm really, it's been a
I can
long few months for
only
us as
imagine
well.
what you've
So,
been through.
I would like to say that I also did offer to Katie, I'm happy to negotiate with her or someone of your choosing over those non-recurring costs, that $15,000. So we knew when we moved everyone that we might not, we just thought that was in the best interest of our customers, and we knew that we might not get paid for that. So
Well, I don't think we'll turn down negotiating.
so just wanted to put that out there. So thank
We
you.
appreciate that too.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, Christine.
Now on to something easier.
Now something that's under budget.
Basketball hoops.
Do we even need to talk about them?
Yes, so we talked about the gym earlier, and I'm coming up here because I can look at you and address y'all better up here. We talked about the gym. It's really old, antiquated. One of the things we have in there is some old basketball hoops. And Mark attests to me, those are made of metal, those old ones. I mean, they don't take ballast, anything, but they're really dangerous, really antiquated, and need to be replaced. It was a capital improvement this year for $14,000, so we did come $3,000 under that budget. We also got $1,000 off their original quote by being a preferred customer of BSN Sports.
Great.
So the ballast in the newer one, you can see on the model, the club court. So one we'd like to go with, it has a ballast that goes up to 850 pounds, and that's good for safety because if you let a bunch of kids loose in the gym, they're climbing all over everything. So you don't want that tipping down. It's got nice glass backboards, and they're the same size as the ones. We have two on the other side of that gym that come down from the ceiling, but because of those old brown bleachers, we can't do it the way we want to. I mean, the white bleachers. We can't do that from the ceiling, but when we have the little kid basketball going, we need to run both those courts at the same time. So at your request, I would like to complete that capital improvement and purchase the club court ones. We did do some other research, and the DJ did into some other ones, but we feel those are the best and the safest, and I was really happy with BSN's quote on that.
Great.
So it's down 1,000 from the 10,000, or?
No,
The
so
10,000
you'll
was the
see,
actual- it was
if you go to
11.
the picture of it here, it's $64.99, so $6,500.
Oh, okay, I got you.
They dropped it down to $5,400 because we are a preferred customer. I think even those old metal antiquated ones came from BSN, actually.
nice.
So it's one of the first companies that I worked with when I took over this position, and they've been great to work with.
So,
Well, I like that you looked at the safety of the kids and was taking that into consideration. And great that you got a deal off of it. It's like under budget. I see no problems with it.
Yeah, we got a ways to go with the safety in there.
yeah.
Trust me on that.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
just for the basketball, not the rest of the gym.
Yeah, when we run 5th and 6th grade, we run that early, actually. We'll be running that in the fall. We run it because it's different than their sports season at school. And we run full court then, so we don't use these. But when K through 4 comes on, we're running both courts at the same time. And then we can lower them to the 6-foot height.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm going to make a motion to approve BSN sports quote number 11230230 for 2 basketball hoops totaling $10,999.95.
I'll second that.
Got a motion and second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Nyberg,
Yes.
Trustee Hartz,
Yes.
Trustee Katzos.
Yes.
Trustee Snooks,
Yes.
Trustee Moreland,
Yes.
Trustee McLaurin,
Yes.
and Mayor Ah.
Yes. So, board reports. We did an ice cream social last night at Mesa Park. Actually had the biggest crowd we've had yet.
Mm-hmm.
There's about, I don't know, 10, 12 people there anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
Yeah. They, lots of questions. It was pretty good discussion. And they stole all the ice cream we had. And we threw all
that's
the
the
ice in the park in the barest spot we could find. And I brought the cooler in and it's by the door.
Thank you.
Trustee Hartz,
Economic Alliance meeting tomorrow.
Trustee Katzos,
Let's see, I went to the Region 9 quarter meeting, and they are updating their enterprise zone boundaries statewide as of January 2026, which is great. Region 9 Grant Navigator is being recognized nationwide for their program. Regarding the broadband, they worked with NEO Connect and counties to address planned services and fixes, and they submitted for an Energy Impact Assistant Grant for multiplexing and routing equipment. Region 9 is continuing with strategic planning with CBO and DOLA for housing and transportation, including updating TPR bylaws and intergovernment agreements. I was really impressed with the other towns' economic development associations, and at some point it would be worth considering how Bayfield can create an economic development arm. Let's see, the big issue is the ADA accessibility compliance.
Which our sidewalks helped.
Which is a new regulation around accessibility of documents and information impacting Region 9 and all government entities. Region 9 was happy to report that their website is in compliance, and they are looking to share any tips and tricks and trades amongst other government entities to try to get everybody in compliance. That's all I have.
Kat, I have a question. Did they talk about, with the adjustment of the enterprise zones, is that going to affect us at all? Because we are currently in an enterprise zone.
Yeah, they just wanted to update it to show any expansions or changes.
Okay,
to
so
the
not
enterprise.
any takeaways, like they're
No
not taking.
takeaway.
Okay, I
No,
just wanted to check.
Just wherever they've added and expanded, yeah.
It's good to know. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Trustee Moreland,
We did not exactly meet. We did have an executive, well, it's not an executive session. We had a
Retreat. Or
a retreat, an executive retreat, just this last week. And we are trying to determine kind of how our leadership for the RHA is going to go. Sarah Tober was promoted to executive director, I believe, of the La Plata Economic Development Alliance, and so she's going to be spread too thin to run the RHA board. So we're trying to come to a decision on kind of how that's going to pan out, how they're going to get paid. Our RHA partners with the Economic Development Alliance to pay for that and monitor it and everything like that. But we're also trying to find some sustainable funds so that we can pay for somebody ourselves, just because that would be fantastic if we could. The actual meeting, the board meeting, isn't until tomorrow. And I'm unable to attend, I believe. Katie.
Thursday, sorry.
Thursday, yeah, I'm sorry. I missed a day. Thursday.
Yeah.
I'm unable to attend because of work obligation, and I think Katie's not able to attend either. So are you going to go? Okay. Makes sense. Thank you. That's all I have.
Trustee Snooks,
Nothing on Mill Street Middle. Not yet.
Waiting for a survey.
Trustee McLaurin,
Well, I'm working on the agricultural district, and we have a meeting coming up, but we haven't had a meeting since my last report.
Trustee Nyberg,
Yes, Mayor, it seems that the town manager has not been acting in the best interest of the majority of the board and seems unwilling to do so. I want to make a motion that we terminate our contract effective immediately.
Second.
Got a
I don't
motion?
agree.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
She's done everything that's been asked of her, always. She's provided information, always given the information. She's not taken any sides against anybody. I think that is completely wrong to do.
I agree.
And I think your town staff will have issues. I think it puts the town in a predicament that is not okay, because we would have no leadership. I mean, there's other municipalities that want her because of her knowledge and everything that she does. I can't say yes based off of, I don't even have any proof that anything happened like that. You know, there's nothing that says she's done something wrong.
Actually, I'd like to have the validation of that. I'd like you to bring more information than just that. I don't understand. This is a sideswipe as far as I'm concerned.
And it's not on the agenda in addition.
Unacceptable, I think. I need more information. You can't just come in here and make an announcement like that without any documentation.
No executive session.
No, nothing.
No talking to our attorney to make sure we're not doing something that is going to result in her suing us for wrongful termination. I mean, there's nothing at this point. This is an HR legal nightmare to say yes to something like this at this point. There's not enough information.
And every business that I know, if a employee is not meeting the expectations, you sit down and you weigh out what those expectations that are not being met, and you set a timeline for showing up and fixing them. You just don't pull the rug out like this. I think Katie's leadership has been phenomenal. I've been impressed as both a member of the public and as a member of this board. She is always spot on every time I reach out to her. I know the staff appreciates her. I went to a leadership meeting. The camaraderie and the ability to work together and value each other. Her leadership has been outstanding thus far for me. So I find this highly unethical and inappropriate.
Yeah, before we go on, Mr. Mayor, I might suggest that, and it has already been mentioned, this has not been agendized, and any motion on this topic would be out of order and would be improper. And my suggestion is that if there is to be some sort of agenda matter with regards to this, that be put on the agenda in a proper way.
Do you wish to put it on the agenda?
I think so.
Okay, then we'll have it on the next agenda.
And I would like some information behind your reasoning. Just stating it doesn't cut it for me. You better bring something.
We need an executive session, to be quite
Right.
frank.
Yes.
And you will lose, Nicole, I know. We'll lose so many people. There are repercussions to this that,
One, there's 6 others.
oh, no, I know. I'm just saying that there are repercussions. I mean, if it really is something that is viable and she did something really out there that's wrong, then, you know, I would agree. I'm in management. There are times where I've let go people that I thought were wonderful human beings that I had to let go. But at this point in time, I don't see anything that shows me she's not done what she's been asked, and more than that. I mean, I was here when the last guy was here, and he didn't. Yeah, Chris. He didn't. Sorry, my mom's in the hospital, so I'm. he didn't provide half the information we get from Katie that's provided nowadays. Not even half of it. I mean, you look at your packets, the packets are 3 times as big as they were back then, and there's more information, there's more studies, there's more knowledge, there's more talk. To me, I feel like she's always been very good at telling that. Is she a perfect person? No, none of us are. We all have our own faults and stuff like that. But as having been in management of large businesses for a really long time, I always felt that it's important to coach and work on coaching them versus letting them go. Because you have to weigh the pros and cons, you know? Maybe she did this part that you didn't like, and maybe you could coach her to not do those things and keep the pros in there. Because I think she's got a lot of pros. I really do.
And I'd like to ask this board, if you were just doing your job one day and somebody walked in.
Mr. Mayor, that.
I know.
we
I'm
really
just
are-
appalled. I'm really appalled.
I understand. I
I'm
get it,
shocked and appalled.
but I'm sorry, but
I-
I really
thank you.
suggest that
Thank you.
any discussion, further discussion on this be agendized so that the public is aware and this isn't occurring outside the public's domain.
Thank you, Attorney Goldman.
And I would like to add the executive session on it prior to any kind of motions that are doing it, not like tonight's schedule was after.
You want to withdraw your motion?
I'll withdraw the motion.
That being said, I close this meeting at 9:26.